Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first Ring of Honor Straight Shootin' series. And we are joined by the one and only Too Cold Scorpio. Thank you very much for joining us.
What's up? What's up?
And let's start right at the beginning. Why did you want to get into the wrestling business?
Well, that's a funny story, and why you ask me that right now, I don't even know. But to tell you the truth is, the simple fact is that I got into the wrestling business is because a friend of mine, he probably weighed about 125, 165 soaking wet with a brick in his pocket, kept telling me he was a wrestler. I says, man, get that, you know what I'm saying, out of here. I said, you ain't no professional wrestler. He said, I am. He goes, really, I am, independent. I says, all right, man. Kept telling me about it. And then finally one day, I got high enough, I got drunk enough, I went down and I watched him. And sure enough, they was down there bouncing around in the ring. I says, man, that looks kind of fun. I got in there, started bouncing around. Next thing you know, I wanted to become a professional wrestler.
So you were a fan growing up, or that was your
I was always a fan growing up. Basically, I watched a lot of the Texas wrestling. Okay. Grew up on the Von Erickson and then I moved out west, out to Colorado, and then I started watching the AWA, stuff like that, and so forth. Growing up with Greg Gagne, Jumping Jim Bronzell, Superfly Snooker, and then WWF started rolling around. After that, I was like, man, that's something I wanted to do. My first love, though, was American football. I wanted to become a professional football player. Unfortunately, wife got pregnant, girlfriend got pregnant, got married, had a few kids. Hey, didn't go to college, got a job, started taking care of business, started taking care of the bills. Next thing you know, this wrestling scene started sounding more good, and also had that thing of professional, either professional football or professional wrestling. Simple fact that professional was in the front of it. And after that, man, that's when I took off and wanted to become a wrestler.
Okay, who trained you?
Trained myself, man. I didn't have nobody to train me. Okay. Shoot, Too Cold Scorpio, shoot, baby, I'm one of a kind. I'll shock your mind. Everybody say, man, who trained you? Who trained you? Actually, I trained myself, but I went to Japan, to New Japan Dojo, okay, and I trained over there and sharpened my skills more and became more precise and more precision technician style of my wrestling and stuff. So
did how was the physicality of football compared to wrestling? Was wrestling easy for you to make the adjustment to, with the bumps and all that kind of stuff?
For me, it was and stuff because I used to do a lot of gymnasts too. I used to be in gymnastics when I was younger. I've done all sports as far as football, basketball, ran track. I've done everything. So for me to make the change, it was real easy coming from an athlete switching to another sport. So for me, I think it was real easy compared to somebody who's never had an athletic background before.
Okay, what memories do you have of your first match?
Wow, my first match. I remember sitting back in the back, figuring out who am I going to fight, going out there, nervous as all hell. Man, I had some boxing boots on. I'll never forget. Boxing boot, they was white, that was hand colored with a magic marker. I colored them in because I wanted blue and white boots. So I colored them in with a magic marker. I had some homemade tights, went out and bought some spandex at the local spandex shop. Took them over to my neighbor's house. Had the Scorpion embroidered on them at the time. 2 scorpions, as a matter of fact, one on one side, one on the other. And then after that, it just kind of the gimmick just started slowly but surely starting to progress as time went on. But on this prior incident, I'll never forget going out there thinking, man, I look good. Man, I got me some homemade wrestling boots on, half boxing, half wrestling boots. Got some homemade tights on, and in reality nowadays, that's what you call something generic. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a professional wrestler, that ain't something you want to wear to the ring to start out. But nevertheless, I can remember getting in the ring and all the people just screaming, hooting and hollering. independent group, and just not sure exactly what to expect from the crowd, not knowing what kind of response I was going to get. And finally, it just happened I happened to be working with a guy, Magic Michael Starr. Jeff Gold was the guy's name. He's the one who talked me into going to wrestling, and we worked out together all the time. And so this was our first match, so we had an opportunity and a chance to work together. And during that time, man, I swear to God, it seemed like everything that we did was some of the harder hits, some of the hardest blows that I've ever probably could have taken compared to football, boxing, or kickboxing. At that time, it was just such a physical sport that I can remember afterwards. I was so hyped and so excited because I got the win that night. And of course, that was the first time that I pulled off the 450. And that was back in 1984-85 when I first started doing that. And the way that came up was before this match, I was practicing on a ring entrance. My ring entrance was I would run down to the ring, dance, jump up on the apron, jump to the top rope, stand there, pose, jump in the ring, cut a front flip, land on my feet. Bam! That was my entrance. Well, I was practicing in the backyard in the homemade ring that we had made, and I got up on the top rope, I jumped, I cut the front flip, I over-rotated, boom, landed on my belly. I jumped up all surprised. I was kind of like, damn, wow, okay, that didn't hurt. And my friend said, man, that looks good. Maybe you ought to use that as a new finish. So next thing you know, I had the guy lay down. I did it a few more times, and bam, before you know, I was hitting it perfect. Next thing you know, I had a new move, the Scorpion Splash.
And that's where the 450 came from?
That's where the 450 came from, my very first match that I had in Denver, Colorado, in a sports bar.
Okay. Then you ended up going to Mexico too. How did that happen?
The reason that the Mexico thing turned out is after I was on the independent circuit for perhaps 2 years, 3 years, Big Van Vader, Leon White, good friend of mine, was the European champion. He had just came home. He had the belts and everything and stuff, and he was just getting ready to start over in New Japan. And he was home at the time, and they asked him to be the main event on the show. So he was the main event on the show, and he spotted me, seen what I had in my talent, and said, hey man, I think you'd be good for the junior tournament over in Japan. He goes, they got this Super Junior Cup coming up. I think, if you train, I'll give you this videotape, you watch it, you study it, I can get you a shot, maybe a chance to go over to Japan and train. So Leon White was the one who got me my first shot and chance and opportunity to go to Japan. So once I went to Japan and I stayed there for 8 months, training, sweating my balls off in the dojo. I mean, the first 2 months, let me tell you, going to the Japanese dojo is no joke. Nowadays, it's a lot easier than what it used to be. At the time when we was going, it was all hell. I mean, you was talking about 1,000 squats, 500 push-ups. You're talking about an hour worth of shoot wrestling, an hour worth of work training. And then you start talking about 1 hour to hour and a half of bumps, which is considered to be about 250 to 300 bumps a day. And I'll tell you, man, that was some of the hardest and best training that I've ever could have went through. And at that time, there was a guy there that was running the dojo who was from Mexico. His name was Nicholson. They called him Black Cat. He's originally from Mexico. He now lives in Japan, married to a Japanese woman, have a child and baby, all doing good. But he was the one, through Leon, who got me the contact to go to Mexico. I went down to Mexico to CML, and I went down there and worked, and I loved the hell out of it. It was a third world country. It was something different, but it was that lucha libre high flying style that I could add to the American Japanese high flying style and kind of convert it all into one style and kind of come up with my own flavor and stuff. So that was the first time, probably in 1992, 91, 92, that I went to Mexico. And that's how I become to go to Mexico, was through going through Japan, through the dojo, and through the friends and the connections there.
Okay. Who are your favorite and least favorite guys to work in Mexico?
My least favorite guys to work with, we can start out with them because it ain't very many. It was Connect. I hated to work with Connect, and I hated to work with Mil Mascaras. Mil Mascaras was a famous, great guy, but he was an egotistic, to me, cocksucker. Bottom line is, I could walk circles around him. I could flip fly better than he could, but you got to give credit where credit is due. And his time in his era, he was over. But when I got there, it was already time for the 90s, and I couldn't stand to work with him. As far as Connect, man, he was a prick. He was a good guy on one hand and a prick on the other. Somebody who perpetrated to be your friend in your face, try to stab you in the back, and never want to do a job for you. As many times as I've done a job for him and made him look good. Now, some of the guys down there that I love to work with was like Eddie Guerrero. I love to work with Chris Benoit. He was coming in and out at the time, which was Americans. And as far as the Mexican wrestlers down there, it was Scorpio Sr., Scorpio Jr., the Villanos, Tejana, Silver King. A lot of those guys I really enjoyed and loved to work with because they still love what they did, and they always gave 110% when they went out there and got in the ring. No matter how drunk or how hungover they was from the night before or 2 hours before the show started, they still went out and busted their ass, and I loved and I enjoyed working with them guys. And there's probably 1,000 of other guys that I could probably name that I enjoyed working with, but I done smoked so many bum buzz back in the day that it's hard to remember all the guys. So if I don't call your name, if I don't bring you up, you still know it was a pleasure and I enjoyed working with you at the time and stuff. So thank you much. Yeah.
Who would you say in your early days, whether it's Japan or Mexico, that you learned the most from?
Ricky the Steamboat Dragon. I would have to say Ricky Steamboat. At the time, me and Chris Benoit both was over in New Japan, and we both was in the Super Junior Cups. We had a couple of great tournaments, some hellified matches. I think me and Chris had some of the best chemistry. I believe that. And Eddie Guerrero too, we had some good chemistry. It didn't matter if it was for most people you had to have a good match to have a good match, where to us, if we had a bad match, it was a good match, and if we had a good match, it was a great match, you know. And Ricky Steamboat watched me and Chris work when we got to WCW, and he says, man, you guys are a hell of a talent. And he goes, you guys know how to work. He goes, you guys can wrestle, you guys can bump. He goes, the only problem is you guys are so used to the Japanese style that it's time to learn the American style. You got to learn to slow it down. You got to learn to sell. You got to start to letting the people catch up. And I'm going to say Colonel De Beers, the first South African, he taught me a lot, and Ricky Steamboat Dragon. I would say them two guys, as far as me coming up and working on the indie scenes and having a chance to work with them guys and going to the big leagues, I say I probably learned more from them guys as far as where I'm at today and stuff.
Were they mainly teaching you psychology, whereas in Mexico and Japan you learn the moves and the bump taking and all that kind of stuff?
Exactly. Ricky was very good on the psychology. He knew how to tell a story, and that was something that I didn't really know. I thought wrestling was all go out, flip, flop, and fly, hurt yourself, do all the crazy moves, get the people to go, ooh, ah! And I thought, hey, once you did that, your job was done. You know, but little do I know there's a lot more to go to it than just that. And with Ricky teaching me the psychology behind it and listening to Hardy Race, driving up and down the road with Vader and him my first time in WCW, I really learned a lot on the old school, bringing it to the new school, and still trying to understand and learn how to tell that story. And now that I've been in the business for 18 years, 19 years going into the business, I'm still learning on how sometime it is to tell the story the right way. So.
Were there, you mentioned the hard training at the New Japan Dojo. dojo. Were there any times that you came close to quitting?
Never. Quitting is not something that I ever wanted to do. Quitting is not something that ever even crossed my mind. The big thing was the trainer there, which was Hasi at the time and stuff, which is one of the senators over there now in Japan, but he was my sensei, and his big thing was with the kendo stick. He would always come up behind me and hit me with it and ask me, hey, you want to quit? Come on, Charles. Come on, you son of a bitch. You want to quit? Come on, you want to go back to America? Come on, you want to quit? And with him saying that, it was just enough to me to say, fuck you, I'm not going nowhere. I'm staying right here. And I guess with that, it was just more intense that I have to do this, because the bottom line was is either you're going to make it or you're going to break it. And that was my chance and my opportunity to do everything that I had to do to better myself for the future. So there was no way I was going to quit with one son already born, my wife being pregnant, and the second one on the way. You know, quitting was not something I ever even came close to thinking about.
Was there anybody else at the New Japan Dojo that was in your class that you could tell was going to be a star? Anybody that became stars out of that class?
At the time and stuff, you know, when you're a young boy, you can see, hey, this guy, he learns quick. He's a good shooter. You know, one day he's going to be a great star. You know, you got to figure, you know, I'm used to watching, you know, Justin Thunder Lager, you know, myself, you know, Chris Benoit. When you start comparing guys, you know, saying, man, I think this guy's going to be good, you got to start looking at, like, Mizawa, Tiger Mask. You know, you got to start looking at Kenta Kobayashi, Akiyama. Are these guys going to be stars? Are they going to compare? And I could tell you right away that I could look at somebody like Tenza and say, hey, he's going to be a star someday. You know, as far as Kojima, I never would have thought that he would be a star that he is today, because he was such a crazy and wild guy in the dojo that, you know, he was just so silly, but he was a hard worker, and hard work does pays off, because now he's a big star, as well as Yuji Nagata. He was in the dojo, one of my dojo brothers too at the same time. All the guys that was in my era and my time of coming up through the dojo have all become big stars over in Japan now, which at this time I could pretty much look at them and say there might have been one or two guys I said, I'm not sure about the guy, I don't know if he can make it, and with the Japanese heart and the hard work that he's put into it, have become big stars and stuff. So
okay. How come you changed your name from Flying Scorpio to Too Cold Scorpio?
Well, the simple fact of changing my name from Too Cold to Flying Scorpio was the simple fact that Japanese had a hard time of the concept understanding too cold. You know, where as far as in America, they can say, man, he's too cold, is meaning something good or meaning something bad. As far as the moves that I do, as far as the hardcore, as far as whatever, man, that's just too cold. Where in Japan, it's like, oh, Samui, Scorpio. They couldn't understand the concept. And then with all the great high-flying moves and everything that I've done, they kind of gave me the name Flying Scorpio. Scorpio is something I've always had that probably would never change. But with them changing it to Flying Scorpio, it was more easy for the Japanese people to grab a hold of the concept and stuff. So
okay. How did you end up getting into WCW?
Wow, WCW kind of goes back to every company, practically to every league that I've ever been in. It's always been through Leon White. You know, Mr. Big Van Vader, thank you very much. I'll take my hat off to you. God bless. But like I say, without him, I wouldn't have had a chance to go to New Japan, Mexico, or WCW, or WWF, as far as that matter goes. So, but he was the one who called up Bill Watts, said, I got this guy from Japan, you got to look at him, you got to see him. I'm telling you, man, he'll fit perfect with the Ron Simmons. They was calling my house. I was down in Mexico working. I had about 12, 15 calls on my phone when I got back home with my answer machine. I finally called him up when I got back home. Vader's like, man, where you been? I'm trying to get a hold of you. I got you this deal down in WCW. You need to come down and talk to Watts, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, I was on a ticket and a flight going down to Atlanta. Next thing you know, like a dumbass I signed on the first night for X amount of dollars when I should have looked over the contract and read it and realized I could have made a lot more at that given point in time when I started.
Yeah. How did you and Vader become such close friends?
Basically, it just developed over the times of him being at home. Like I said, it all started from the first time that he spotted me and said that he can get me the job over in Japan. After that, I'm gonna run you through this real quick, so try to follow me. Okay. We met, he seen me, he came back, he got a videotape of me. He got the videotape, took it to Japan, they liked it. He got me a shot to come over for a 3-week tour. I went over on a 3-week tour, hurt my leg the first night in the Junior Super Cup tournament. After that, I worked 3 weeks straight with a bad leg. Came back home to the States, and Vader kept saying, I'm going to try to get you to the dojo, I'm going to try to get you to the dojo. About a year and a half later, he got me that shot to go to the dojo. So from the dojo, that's when he got me the shot to go to Mexico. When he switched and went to WCW, I'm just basically falling on his tail. And, you know, he's the man who's been opening up every door for me, so.
Okay. What are your memories of your debut in WCW when you were Ron Simmons' partner and you hit the 450, and that was probably the first time I was ever seen in the United States?
The first time the 450 ever been seen in the States. Man, I was hiding 3 kites. I was on the 39th level looking down, literally. I mean, from the bumbird to the crowd, from the atmosphere, for being parties with Ron Simmons. I mean, you talking about a Florida All-American, big name, you know. I'm used to watching this guy on TV. Next thing you know, I'm his tag team partner. Man, I get out there, you know, a crowd, the folks, shit, it ain't no big deal, man. I got out there, man, and I had the bubble guts. And you know what I'm saying? If y'all don't know what the bubble guts is, that means, brother, I had my shit was bubbling, boobly, boobly, goo-goo. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was going to have to take a shin on myself, man. There was so many people. They was screaming. They was hooting and hollering. And then to be involved in a 2 out of 3 ghetto odd matches, you know what I'm saying? To me, that was just a pleasure to be tagged with Ron Simmons, and then to be fighting the great Cactus Jack, you know, at the time, Mankind, Barbarian. Now, Tony Ellis, he was just another one that didn't really matter, but being in there with the Barbarian and Cactus Jack, Cactus had that look, brother, that, I mean, if you didn't know Cactus Jack, you thought he was a wild, crazy man. And at that time, I didn't know him. I thought he was a wild, crazy man. And then you start talking about the Barbarian. I mean, you know, people that kick 9, 10, 12 cops' ass, clean out a whole bar by himself, bite somebody's ear off. I wasn't too sure about getting in the ring with them. And but then again, I had Ron Simmons there. He said, hey, man, it's going to be all right. And that deep Jim Brown voice of him, shit, fool, shit, you know, hey, we're going to go out and just do this. You know what I'm saying? And I think with him being there at that time, man, it was just probably one of the greatest, most exciting, electrifying feeling that a young man or a young wrestler getting into this business could ever have, to come in and be on a big show and have that many people screaming and hooting and hollering. And when I hit the moonsault off the top rope, my foot slipped. I thought, oh my God, now you done messed up. Here you are, got all these people looking at you. But luckily, Cactus Jack was there, man. I mean, he was right there. Perfect catch. Felt like I fell on a pillow. But I tell you what, when I went and Ron lunged me and I took that dive over the top rope to the floor on the crossbody, I could have thought I was Superman. But I was so high, naturally high. You know what I'm saying? So, and when I hit the 450, boom, and the people went crazy, and I got the 1, the 2, the 3, man, and man, I'm telling you, it was exciting. I probably never forget that feeling at all. Never, ever.
How did Ron Simmons react to being your tag team partner? Did he know you before that?
No, Ron Simmons, it was hard to read at that time. Before the match prior, he was probably questioning, been in the business for so long, can this young buck do it? You know, as football terms, can he carry the ball? Shit, I'm gonna block the hole. Shit, I'm gonna knock the man down. Shit, he gonna take the ball and score and give me a touchdown. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was Ron Simmons' more concern of anything. Hey, we got a pay-per-view. It's gonna be a big show. I'm out here with a new kid. He's young. You know what I'm saying? I'm a vet. Man, are you gonna be able to step up? You know what I'm saying? Step up to the plate and carry the weight. And I believe after that match, after I pulled it off, Ron Simmons was very happy and very impressed with my skills and my talent and what I was able to do and stuff. So, but at the time, before the match, he's probably a little skeptical about if I was going to be able to pull it off or not.
Did you have anyone in the locker room react in a negative way to the 450, like kind of like, why are you doing that, or slow down, or trying to hold you back on doing that kind of stuff?
You know, it's hard to say when you're down there if anybody really had that feeling. I think everybody was so caught up in the awe at the given point in time that I hit the 450. They have never seen it. I think it kind of caught everybody by surprise. And then at that given point in time, the one who called themselves high flyers, such as Flying Brian Pillman, God bless, rest his soul, a few of the other guys who probably called themselves high flyers at that time, I think was probably a little worried. Sting, for one. You know, hey, who's this guy coming here? Got some Scorpions on his tights. You know what I'm saying? He's coming in here and he can do a whole lot more stuff than I can, but he ain't got my size. You know, I believe if I was blonde haired and blue eyed and can do the stuff that I could do, I'd be making $1 million an hour now. So.
Yeah. Did Sting say anything to you, or did you just get that?
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, he said something to me, and he said something to the office. Basically, real simple. Why you wearing Scorpions on your tights? You know, that's my gimmick. I'm wearing Scorpions. I said, Sting, I don't know. I says, before you decided to become Sting, you was somebody else. And I says, and when you was at somebody else, I was still wearing the Scorpions on my tights. And I says, and when you're done and when you're gone, I'm going to still be wearing the Scorpions on my tights. I says, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I says, okay, I won't wear them on both legs. I'll just wear it on the one. And then that's when he said, no. That's my gimmick. I got rid of the Scorpion. I'm Sting. I said, yeah, you Sting. And I'm Too Cold. And basically, that was about all it was said.
The office didn't step in or anything?
Stepped in and said, hey, Sting said this, Sting said that. And I said, hey, what do you want me to do? You know, so I slowly but surely try to show him respect and not try to wear it out as much. But the simple fact is, go to the writing. You know, if not the Scorpion in itself. You know, so he was the one I had a problem with when it come to wearing, as far as wearing the tights and stuff. But over a period of time, I'm going to say he accepted and adapted, and there was no problem, per se.
Okay. What was Bill Watts like to work for?
An asshole. What else you want to know? No, Bill Watts, I don't know, man. Bill Watts was a weird country redneck mother. You know what I'm saying? But Bill Watts let you know. He came in, he let you know, hey, I'm a redneck, I'm this, I'm that. Bill Watts was kind of a straight shooter, snake in the grass type of a guy. But for some reason, as prejudiced as everybody say Bill Watts was, he loved the hell out of me. Probably because of my talent. You know, Bill Watts, once again, like you say, you got to realize he was a person that was in a situation of booking, running things, who saw an opportunity of money and a way of making money. So I believe that when he saw me, he saw money. You know what I'm saying? And that was the bottom line. You know, he wanted me to do good. And I would say my best run probably was when Bill Watts was down there. He really had me going over on people working really well and stuff. And, you know, thank you much, Bill Watts, but you still can kiss my black ass. So, all right.
What was Ric Flair like back then?
Ric Flair will always be Ric Flair. I grew up watching Ric Flair. I thought Ric Flair was one of the best shit-talking mothers on the mic, along with Dusty Rhodes and a few of the others. You know, Ric Flair, brother, he can go out and wrestle. He could tell a story like nobody else could. I mean, him and Steamboat had thousands and thousands of matches, and only people seen some of the good matches that they had. Rick, you got to figure it's from North Carolina. He's prejudiced. First of all, He got a hell of a fine father, family. His daughters is pretty. His wife looked good. His sons, his daughter went out with some black guy. Well, you know he hated the hell out of that shit, right? So next thing you know, we down there. Flair liked me, but Flair didn't like me. Me myself, I've always liked it, Flair, up until a point when I had thought that Flair had set me up, and at that given point in time, I can care less for Flair. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to whoop his ass. I wanted to beat him from the north to south, up and down, left and right, but it never came down to it, and it never happened. The situation that happened in WCW, I thought happened because of Ric Flair. At the given point in time, I should have been man enough to go and talk to Ric Flair, see what the 411 was, and I didn't. I let the anger build up over 1 or 2 years, and as the anger built up, the more hate, you know, that I grew for Ric Flair. On probably he didn't never really have as much hate as I probably think that he had for me. Just that Ric Flair was a guy that was on top at that given point in time, and I was a guy that was just up and coming in his business that basically they, you know, perfected. You know,
what did you think he was trying to set you up for?
Basically, I thought it was a setup behind the drugs and the deal when we went to St. Thomas. Probably because of the simple fact that I told him that I was going to be too cold, and probably slipped and told him that I was going to fuck his wife, and told him that I was going to fuck his daughter, and you know, some shit like that because I am too cold. And I don't know, maybe he got wind of that or something, and I don't know. Probably say, hey, this guy's got to go. But I think what really happened was we was at St. Thomas and shit, and Brian Knobs, me, Brian Pillman, and Buddy Lee Parker. Well, we're all out there and stuff. But first of all, one black man in a room with 4 or 5 white guys doing cocaine is not the thing you should be doing in this business. It's bad for you and it's not good for you. Okay? Now, secondly, you shouldn't be in there with a Buddy Lee Parker and Brian Pillman, who has no problem about snitching or being a stooge, as you would say in this business. And so, first of all, I was in the wrong to begin with. We was having a good time and throwing ourselves on the beach. Me, being the freak that I be, out there walking on the damn beach in my G-string, T-back, dick all strapped to my leg and shit. You know what I'm saying? 9-inch of limp dick. Nobody's wife in hell, no man wants his wife to be seeing that type of stuff. So, I believe dick swinging and drugs flying. I don't think he had as much problem as with the weed as he did with the cocaine, because he done a lot of it in his time, and he wouldn't have a problem with it. The problem was it was me who was doing it, and here was his chance or his way to say, hey, now I got something on him that I can use against him. Maybe perhaps I can get out. And situation went down. We went over there. We had a hell of a show. We came back. Thank you, Ric Flair, though, for inviting me over there to do the tour in St. Thomas, which it was a hell of a good time. We had a good show. I thought we had a good time, but who knows. Anyways, when I got back, the deal came down with, hey, you got to go take a drug test. I'm like, shit, it ain't been no 48 hours. I can't go take no drug test because this shit's still in my system. So I blew it off. I'm like, fuck it, I'm not going to go down and do it. So I went down. We had to go to CNN at that time, right, and do promos and so forth and stuff. So I'm down there at CNN doing promos. I got my 2 boys with me. They going to come up to me and say, hey, you need to go down and take a drug test. I'm like, shit, I got my boys with me, man. I'm not going nowhere. He's like, yeah, you need to go down and take a test. Okay, so I go down the next day. So what? It's been 72 hours plus. But I went down and took the test. Of course, no cocaine in my system. Only thing they found was probably some traces of weed, or a whole lot of traces of weed. But that's here to say, never say. But anyways, nevertheless, the deal was I got busted for some type of drug, so I had to go to this drug class, weed class, pay this money, blah 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 blah. So I was still working, but I was kind of on leave at the time and stuff. So went down, did a week, did 2 weeks, took the test, came back positive, of course. Then, you know, you can't go to drug rehab classes smoking a joint on the way. It doesn't work. You can't go to drug rehab class, get out of drug rehab class, leave the place smoking a joint. Talking about, yeah, look, I got my 12 steps of books in my hand, but I got to stoke you in the right day, you know? It doesn't work, guys. If you're going to do it, you got to do the whole thing right. Of course, I wasn't doing it right, and so I came back, got time to do the third test. Well, one test positive, two tests positive, third test positive, you're gone. So anyways, it came down to the third test, and they never wanted me to take the test. So I'm figuring, hey, what's up? Why don't I have to take the test? Some time went on, came back, I'm working, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden they hit me with one of them surprise test things. And of course, again, I got popped for weed in my traces, and the word was it was cocaine, and the word was passed through fair. This is what I heard through the grapevine, which is why I got pissed off at Flair and wanted to fight and whoop his ass. But in this business, hearsay, she say can come from anywhere. So in this business, if you hear something, being a man about it, go to the man who you think who said it. Find out for yourself before you get mad and upset and don't understand the situation.
Okay. Well, we're on the topic of outside the ring stories. Why don't you give us your version of the night that Sid and Arn got in that fight in the hotel?
Blood everywhere. It was like going to a horror show. No, I swear you. It started out being a fucked up day with some fucked up planning. Vince, you know better than to do some shit like you did, but we ain't gonna put the blame on you because you wasn't there, but it wasn't your fault anyways. Nevertheless, we got a 6-hour ride. We fly in, we go into Frankfurt, whatever, England, Frankfurt, where we gotta go. From there, we gotta once we land, we gotta go straight 3 hours, 4 hours, straight to the vignette, do a show. You got everybody on the bus now. In this business, you're going to have some pain. There's going to be some pain pills taken. Maybe a few Viagra's, a few whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some pain pills, some muscle relaxers. Who knows what somebody's going to be taking. But a long bus ride, drinking some beers on your first day in is real stressful. I don't care who you are, where you go, what you do. You never want to go to a foreign country and have to work the same day that you get there, right off an airplane. So I believe with the stress and everything that was built up on the long bus ride coming back, you got people like Arn Anderson, you got Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair, and then you start talking people like Brian Pillman, and you got Sid, and you got Arn, and you got all these guys riding on one bus drinking beers. That's a whole lot of ego trips on one bus. And then you got another bus, me, Vader, and so forth, and the rest of the guys, Sting, and whoever else. You know what I'm saying? But we all mellow. You know what I'm saying? We all chilling. These guys is drinking the whole way coming back in. Well, the problem was is Sid and Arn is starting in with the beers and the drinking. They're already starting with the talking shit before we get back to the hotel. But once we get back to the hotel, everybody, you know, they got some sandwiches and things out for all of us to eat once we get in. They left the bar open, of course, so we can have some drinks. So now we're talking, you know, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're back at the hotel. You're already half drunk from the first bus trip. You finally get it. All you want to do is eat, sleep, and rest. So you get in there, and you got all these egos sitting around, right? So now you got Sid talking shit to Arn Anderson, and Arn Anderson talking shit to Sid, talking about you'll never be the star, you'll never be the man that Ric Flair is, and this and that. Now Sid is getting mad, getting hot at Aaron, because they're talking about the money that Ric Flair's made, and who's friends with who, and why is this and why is that. Nobody don't give a fuck about that damn shit. All I want to do is make some of the money that he made. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, man, they're sitting there drinking beers. Sid said something, and Arn got mad. At first, Sid got mad through the first beer. First glass of beer, threw it across the room, beer all over. Arn Anderson moved. Beer glass, beer bottle just missed him. And they jump up, now they're ready to fight. Doug Dillinger, the supposedly rent-a-cop security guard, he comes over, jumps in, stops the guy, sells him down. So everybody calms down for a minute. They're still talking shit. Next thing you know, Sid says something about Ric Flair being a punk. He ain't never made no money. Arn Anderson gets mad and upset, defends his friend, throws the beer at Sid. Now, everybody done had enough of this beer throwing shit in the goddamn hallway by a couple grown-ass men. All right, acting like a couple kids. Now, Doug says, hey, everybody go to your room. Sid goes on to his room. Flair, them guys, Ricky Steamboat, everybody leaves. Vader goes up to his room, everybody leaves. Hey, me and Max Payne, shit, we're down there. Shit, next thing you know, shit, we got a Coca-Cola can, scraping the paint off of it, trying to punch some holes in it, trying to make a homemade pipe. Shit, we got this chunk of hash burning a hole in our pocket. So we sitting up there, hash it out, and all of a sudden I hear this boom, bam, 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 boom. And I'm thinking, damn, Vader over there kicking somebody's ass. I'm like, damn it, I got to go over there and calm his ass down again. So I get up, I go over there, I'm thinking, damn, Vader done jumped on somebody. I go over to Vader's room, I stop, I listen, I hear, God damn, I said, he's snoring through the door. I said, it ain't Vader. I constantly hear the fight, the so on going on. I got a little towel wrapped around me. I walk down the hallway, go down the steps. I get out to the corridor, and I mean, damn, my look, bro, there's this blood shot everywhere. Blood all down this wall. Sid, man, has got Arn Anderson by the head. He's stabbing him with the scissors. He's stabbing him with the scissors. He's kicking him in the face. Next thing you know, he kick him, his nose turned up. I mean, blood is just everywhere. Both these guys is bleeding profusely, man. I mean, and you would swear you was in some type of horror movie. I mean, you had, how the hell you be in a knife fight, street fight, scissor fight, whatever you want to call it, and have blood 6 feet, 7 feet up the goddamn walls on both sides? You know what I'm saying? Here I am, 5'11", 245 pounds, these two big Obama bulls, and I'm going to step in and break them up. So I go down there, and when Sid stuck him in the back of the neck with his scissors and kicked him in the face, and you see Arn Anderson nose do a 360 and turn upward, I said, I think it's time to jump in. So I jump in the middle of the two guys. I pull them apart. Man, right? I push Sid one way. I push Arn Anderson the other. Arn Anderson is kind of half out of it from the drinking and the loss of the blood, and he kind of stumbles back against the wall. Sid, he's all hyped up. So I go after Sid. I grab him around the waist. He's still trying to get after Arn Anderson. I said, Sid, no, stop. He kind of, gathers himself, looks down, pushes me, kicks the door, cracks the door, the glass door. He runs out the door. Now Arn Anderson there, he's bleeding, man. I mean, blood is just, it's squirting from his neck, from his shoulders, on his armpits, man. He's bleeding from all over the place. And I'm like, damn, man. What are you doing? I'm trying to get him back down the hallway. I'm saying, Flair, Steamboat. I'm trying to call somebody, man. Ain't nobody coming out. Ain't nobody helping me. I finally get him back down to his room where the broken chair was, and the scissors and all the blood started. And finally, Ricky Steamboat comes out of his room. Ric Flair comes out, and man, Arn Anderson, he's being all, they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Now, first of all, Ric Flair and Steamboat both, y'all got to be some of the best wrestlers that I've probably ever seen in my whole entire life, but probably some of the most chicken shit motherfuckers that I know. This is your partner, your buddy Arn Anderson. Y'all hear the fight. Y'all hear everything going on outside of you guys' door. Now, it was on the first floor. Now, you both was on the first floor, and I know y'all heard it, but yet not one of you guys going to come out and try to break it up. So, Fallon, when he's walking back up, bleeding, blood come from everywhere, now they want to come out the room. Now we're grabbing bath towels, we're grabbing sheets off the bed, wrapping them up, and these towels are soaking up in a matter of 2 seconds, 3 seconds with blood and stuff. Finally, man, Sid runs outside, runs around the fucking building. Now he's trying to come in through the front door, but in England, after 12 or 1 o'clock, they lock the doors. You got to have your key or whatever to get in. He runs around, runs right into the glass. The door doesn't open. He steps back, boosts the door, and the whole glass it shatters all the way up. And thank God that Vader happened to be standing in the lobby, because he'd been trying to call his wife, couldn't get a hold of her, whatever. So he happened to be standing in the lobby in his underwear, talking on the telephone, trying to get out. Sid runs in. He looks, see that he's bleeding. He tackles him, grabs him, holds him down like, Sid, what are you doing? What's going on? And at that given point in time, I was coming up telling the people at the front desk, call the ambulance, because I swear to God, I thought he was going to bleed to death, Arn Anderson. So finally, we stopped all of that. We got it taken care of. Ambulance came. I jump in the ambulance. These guys go to the hospital. Arn goes in one, Sid goes in the other, and I'm not even the office guy. I'm just a damn wrestler. And the damn office people, everybody that's in the hotel said, yeah, Scorp, you go too. So next thing you know, I'm up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, changing clothes, got blood all over me. I'm going to the hospital with these guys, trying to sign everybody in, get their name right. And all I wanted to do was go to the damn hotel and shit, man, smoke me some damn hash, take my ass to sleep, get ready for the next bus ride. You know what I'm saying? I mean, brother. But I got to take my hat off, because Sid, man, he was real thankful, and Arn Anderson too. And Arn Anderson both, man, was saying thank you, very much. Arn Anderson called me at my house, called me at home, said thank you very much for saving my life, this and that, blah 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 blah. If there's something I could ever do for you, give me a call. Well, Arn Anderson, I've been trying to give you that call for a while now, because I know you got a little pool now and shit. And what's up? Ain't you gonna help a brother out? Alright, man. I'm gonna holler at you later now. Alright, motherfucker.
Well, we're on the topic of backstage fights. You were in one yourself with Road Warrior Hawk. What happened there?
Well, Road Warrior Hawk, I don't want to talk bad about him, and I hate to say anything bad about him. God rest your soul. Please rest in peace. We're going to make it short and sweet. Just tell it like it is. There's no way he's not here to defend himself, and no way you can defend yourself. And even if he was here, he probably still couldn't defend himself. But nevertheless, Hawk, I thought you was an alright guy, man. I thought you was pretty cool until you showed me your true colors, which I really known them from the time before. But nevertheless, we was over in North Korea. I mean, 199,000 people 2 nights in a row. Now, Hogan, you ain't never wrestled for that many people, huh? But me and Flair have, baby. Woo! It was nice. But that's another story. But anyways, man, we was over here in North Korea, and the whole thing started is the first day they got 50, 60 Mercedes-Benz. They got a bus. So it was your choice. You could ride in the Mercedes-Benz, or you could ride on the bus. All the boys, we got on the bus. Ric Flair and Hawk, of course, got in the Mercedes. So we got the Gaijins, the Japanese, everybody. We're all on the bus. We're going to a hotel. There's a few guys in the limos. So we have to go to these temple sites. We're there for like 5-6 days. And every day we got to go on these little sites. So we're all on the bus going on these sites. Ric Flair and Hawk, they're riding in the car. Hawk's like, hey, yeah, man, Flair, man, that's my buddy, man. We're cool. We like this. I'm like, hey, cool. I ain't got a problem with it. Y'all buddies, cool. Do your thing. But all the boys have been boys. We riding together. We all on the bus sweating it out together. So what happened is we get on the bus. Steiner and them is already on the bus. Rick and Steiner, Chris Benoit's already on the bus. Scott Norton's already on the bus, I want to say. And Hawk, he decides this day that he's going to ride on the bus. So Hawk comes out. I come out first. I get on the bus. Hawk comes out. He gets on the bus. Hey, hi, hello to everybody. And Hawk starts in. Flair walks out the door. You can see him over there in the hallway. Flair doing the old Ric Flair. Got to check the Rolex. Got to do the old Ric Flair. Got to comb the hair. You know what I'm saying? Got to make sure he look good before he step out. Right? Well, he's kind of looking around while he's doing this. So Hawk gonna say, hey man, I think Ric Flair is looking for somebody, man. Maybe he's looking for me. Maybe he wants me to ride with him again today. Me, being the too cold motherfucker that I be, I said, fuck that pussy, man. Let him ride by himself. Hawk said, what? What'd you say? I said, you didn't hear me? I said, fuck that pussy, man. I said, let him ride by himself. He said, fuck you, nigga. Came back there. Next thing you know, he threw one punch. Didn't hit nothing but air. After that, brother, I was all on him like white on right. I was tattooing his ass like he ain't never been tattooed before. Next thing you know, man, Japanese boys jump on me. They pull me back. He jumps on top of me. We're fighting down in the seat. He's trying to throw punches, man. He's swinging with all his might. He can't even hit me, and I'm being held down, and he still couldn't hit me. You know what I'm saying? So then I finally got the Japanese boys up off me, man. And, you know, at the time, he had a hepatitis B real bad at the time. And so he got blood and shit running down from his face, from his mouth and eye where I tagged his ass, right? He's got blood running down, so it's on his thumb, and you know, he's trying to do all this shit, so he thinks it's stuck in my mouth. I bite his hand, he pull his hand back, I finally get the guys up, I stand up, I rip off my suit, my button, I throw a high kick, pow, right to his face. He backs up, whoa, kind of like that. I was like, come on, motherfucker, let's go. I'm gonna whoop your motherfucking ass. Come on, huh? And he's like, come on, man, let's go. I'm gonna beat your bloody pope. Let's go. Now, I used to be in Hell's Angels and blah, 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 this and that. Man, you ain't been no Hell's Angel, because they don't take punks like that. And you know what I'm saying? That's exactly what I told him. Next thing you know, man, I said, all right, we're supposed to be over here on a peace treaty, right? Peace treaty, North Korea, communist country, someplace I didn't want to be in the first place, and we over here fighting. So first thing to come to me, I think Japanese young boy. Hey, I apologize. I say I'm sorry. I apologize from everybody on the bus, from the front to the back of the bus, and English and Japanese. I apologize to everybody. I get to Hawk and say, yo, Hawk, man, I'm sorry, man, but we don't need to be doing this shit right here, man. We can fuck you, man. Fuck you, man. I'm going to beat your ass, man. Get away from me. Get away from me. I'm like, cool. All right. He still want to fight. So next thing you know and shit, man, we come back. We get to this 5-year-old temple site. About 500 years old, man. About 200 steps all the way up this damn hill, man. So we have to walk up here. We do a little sight thing. We come back down. Well, before we go up here on this hike now, I see a cameraman off to my right behind me, man. He got a little camera. I don't know what TV station it was. And Hawk is there. I go up to him, I say, look, Hawk, man. I says, we don't need to be fighting, man. We don't need to be doing this. Hey, man, don't touch me, man. Get away from me, man. Man, we get back to Tokyo, man. I'm going to beat your ass to a bloody pope, blah, blah, blah. I say, Hawk, man, if you want to fight, man, we get back to Tokyo, man, we're going to throw. And I mean, we're going to throw, motherfucker. I mean, we're going to throw old school style. Oh, yeah, man, I'm going to beat your ass, man. I ain't never stole on nobody. He puts his hands in his pocket. Man, he turns around. Wham! He swings as hard as he can. Hit me with a right hand. I mean, plow! I was like, damn, that's all you got? My sister hit harder than him. I was like, man, I'm really going to beat your ass to a pope now, motherfucker. I'm going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? And after that, man, we got back to the hotel. The Japanese boys grabbed me again. Fight's on now. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to get him. I'm going to fight. So I go to Nicholson. I say, yo, Black Cat. Now, which one of them legs you said he had an operation on? He's like, yeah, it was, you know, this leg, you know, the right leg he had an operation on. So I'm thinking, all right, right knee's bad. I'm going to take his leg out, and then I'm going to beat you down like you ain't never been beat down before. I'm talking about beat you down ghetto style. And, man, next thing you know, man, we get in the rooms, we gotta go to lunch. So now we're back at the hotel. I'm still mad, I'm hot. I'm talking to Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit's like, man, Scorpio, man, you and Hawk has gotta make up, man. You guys can't be like that, man. You guys gotta talk. He goes, I'm friends with you. He goes, I'm friends with Hawk. He goes, man, I don't want to be in the middle of this. He goes, man, you guys gotta talk to each other. I was like, all right, man. I said, I ain't got no problem, Chris, man. I'll talk to him. So then I asked Rick and I asked Scott, I said, yo, man, I go, was I wrong for what I did? He's like, shit, man, you wasn't wrong. He goes, he called you out, man. He goes, you got to defend yourself. I said, all right, cool. So I went to Norton. I said, yo, Norton, was I wrong for what I did? He said, nope. He called you a nigger. He called you out your name. You got to do what you got to do. So so now I'm not feeling so bad that I beat his ass. But during the time that we was beating his ass, little did I tell you, I tried to pull his eye out of his socket too. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got this bad thing, oh, I'll pull a guy's eye out of his socket, I'll do this, I'll do that. So I try to give him a little taste of his own flavor. And little do he know, Hawk can't fight. He's a one-hit punch type guy. If he hits you one time and he knock you down, he's over like Rover. If you got to fight and throw punches with him, you'll take him out every time. I'm letting you know that now. Bottom line is, man, is like I said, we come down, we back at the hotel, we got to eat. So we come out, I walk out the room, I hear a door close. I'm thinking, damn. Shit's on again. I walk around a corner, he walks around a corner, man, Hawk, face to face again. I'm like, oh yeah, boy, we getting ready to fight again, huh? Hawk says, yo, man, you want to finish this? I was like, yeah, I want to finish it. I said, but now is not the place to do it. I said, we supposed to be on a peace treaty thing. I said, but I tell you what now, we get back to Tokyo, as soon as we touch ground, or we going to throw. He's like, yeah, man, we're going to fight. He goes, I'm going to beat your ass to a bloody pulp. I'm like, you're on. It's a bet. So next thing you know, we're both looking eye to eye each other. The elevator pops up. He says, go ahead, get in. I says, nah, you get in. He goes, nah, go ahead, man. I said, why? So you can steal on me again? He says, nah. So I go ahead and I turn, bam, and I back into the elevator. He steps into the elevator too. Now I got him lined up with that right thrust kick, like, yeah, you mess up, I'm taking you out in this elevator. But nothing happened, nothing went down. We got down, we get down to dinner. You gotta find your name tag on the table and sit down where you eating at. Well, I'll be down. 1, 2 seats over. Man, Hawk sitting across from each other face to face. I'm like, damn, I can't get rid of this motherfucker. I'm like, God, I'm about to beat his ass again, right? Man, so next thing you know, I'm like, okay, that was lunch. Maybe tonight, dinner time, I'm gonna find me another seat someplace else. We go to this another vignette. Got that motherfucking Ping King China motherfucker sitting up in a bulletproof box up in the motherfucker. Doing the old patchy bullshit, waving them motherfuckers down below us, looking at us and shit, right? So we got a Korean show. The show was really good. The dinner was great, man. They brought some fucking chicken, man. I swear to God, this shit must have been pigeon. But anyways, after that, man, I mean, sit down, me and Hawk. Side by side again. So we got these stainless steel chopsticks. I'm thinking, man, any day me and Hawk is gonna have to fight. So I take these stainless steel chopsticks, and for somehow one just happened to slip out of my hand. So I pick it up, and the brother I be, I slip one in my pocket and put the other one back on the table. You know, so I grab another set of the clean ones. Of course, again, I dropped it, and picked it up, and slid the other one in my pocket. So now I got 2 stainless steel chopsticks and eating with a pair over here. So when dinner was all done, I figured, hey man, one day we're gonna throw down. So I had to go upstairs. I taped the 2 chopsticks together. I sharpened them up on the ledge. Took them in my pocket. I took them with me every day while I was there. So I says, man, Hawk, we're gonna throw down again. I know it. But for some reason, man, before 3 or 4 days before we got ready to go to Tokyo, we finally sat, we talked, and we squashed all of that shit, man. And after that, man, shit was cool. We got back to Tokyo. Shit, next thing you know, he wanted to smoke some weed with me. Shit, I didn't trust him. I wasn't ready to hang out with him no more. I said, yo, man, shit, you on your own. I'm just drinking now. And after that, man, that was that, man. Done and over with.
Going back to another infamous outside the ring incident you were involved in, you were the one that recovered Cactus Jack's ear when he lost in Germany, right?
Well, actually, Gary Capetta was the one who recovered it, carrying a piece of tissue like this, talking about, oh, it's Cactus's ear! And I was the one who grabbed it from him, and I was watching on the monitor when I seen his ear pop off, and I was the one who ran out and grabbed it, threw it in on a bag of ice, you know, hoping maybe, you know, when Jack came back and he went to the hospital, they could sew it back on. But Cactus, man, for some reason, he puts the blame on me. It wasn't my fault. I'm just a high flyer, okay? I have to have the ropes tight to high fly. Well, what happened was, as Cactus went out, he had the ropes loosened up because he does his little hangman deal where he runs, dive over, hang himself in the ropes. Well, this one in particular time, I happened to wrestle before him and Vader. And so, me being a high flyer, I had to have the ropes tightened back up. So I had the ropes tightened back up and forgot to tell the guy after my match was done, the referee, to loosen them back up. So, I'm sorry, Jack, okay? If you can hear me in your good ear, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But anyways, nevertheless, Vader runs. You see it, Cactus Jack gets tied up. Vader hits the ropes. Boom, boom, boom. He jumps up, hit Cactus in the head. Pow. Cactus's ear just falls on the floor. It's like, and Jack, goes on with the match. He wrestles for another 15-20 minutes after he lost his ear. So as he loses his ear, I got his ear in the back. I go, Jack, as soon as the match is done, I go, Jack, I have your ear. I have it right here. He goes, okay, hold on to it. He goes, hold on to it. And he goes, my wife is going to be mad. And so now he's sitting in the back room. And so now he's doing an interview, taking a few pictures of the ear. Of course, me, I had to get in there, help pull the hair back and get a few shots and hold the ear up a little bit and stuff, And then finally, after he sat there for 20 minutes or so doing the interview, talked to his wife and his kids, everybody said, okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go to the hospital. Well, he had about a 20-minute ride to the hospital. Now you're looking at almost 2 hours or so, give or take, before he had his ear put back on. And when he got there, it was too late, and they wasn't able to sew his ear back on and stuff. So, but yeah, that was a pretty wow incident to see happen live and live in color, so.
Going back to your in-ring matches, you had a series of matches with Scott Levy, who was Scotty Flamingo at the time. Of course, he went on to be Raven. What's your memories about working with him?
Working with Raven, or Flamingo Kid, or Scotty the Body, whichever one you want to call yourself nowadays, it was a trip. He was the type of guy that was not a great high flyer and not really all that good of a wrestler. I mean, a hell of a guy, nice as could be and fucking shit. And I mean, back in the day, he had the body, he had the look, he had it all, But when it came to him doing that little weak-ass cross-body pull over the top kind of splatcher, you want to call it, don't do that one no more, Raven. It does not look good, okay? But nevertheless, man, I had fun working with him, man. I thought it was a good chance, a good experience to work with the different talents that they had up and coming at the time and stuff. And he was one of the guys that was there and who was established at the time and stuff. So for me, I enjoyed pretty much working with just about everybody I worked with for the experience in itself. But overall, it wasn't that good of a match, I would say.
Okay. How about you wrestled Barry Windham for the WCW title at a Clash of Champions? How was that?
I'm going to say that probably was one of the hardest matches I probably had to do, because the simple fact is I was over in Japan working. I want to say it was the end of probably one of the junior series tournaments at the time when I came back. And I had flew straight to Milwaukee or wherever the place was at that time to do the match. And Barry been there and been the vet and growing up, like I said, watching him and the Mulligans and everything and stuff at that time. It was quite an experience for me to be in a title match with him, not really knowing what the outcome was really going to be.
Okay. How? What were your thoughts on teaming with Marcus Bagwell?
Marcus who?
Marcus Bagwell.
Who's that? Who's Marcus? Oh, Bagwell. You mean the booty kisser? Oh, yeah. Well, actually, man, back in the day and stuff, man, Bagwell, he was a pretty little white boy, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if he was kind of sweet or if he was a little gay, I mean, Bagwell would be your type. I mean, he had body, he was buff, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he was kind of a sweet guy. I mean, he was really sweet. Downright really nice, but just a chicken shit of an asshole he really was. I mean, having him as a partner, I thought we made a great tag team because it was that black and white thing that we was trying to get started in Atlanta. But in all honesty, Bagwell was scared of black pussy. He was scared of the black neighborhood. He was scared to hang out with the blacks, let alone hang out with Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Scorpio was too cold. I was a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I tried to get Bagwell to go to the project. I said, look, Bagwell, I said, man, we're getting over in center stage. I said, the people are going crazy. I said, we got the black girls, we got the white girls, we got the kids. kids, we got the fans. I'm says, man, if we want to get over, man, all we got to do is go to some of these inner city places, hang out, go to some of these soul food restaurants, man. I take you down there, man. I said, we get a little grub. I said, I know you like to eat the chicken breast and all that bullshit. I said, man, we can go down, man, and have a little soul food, man. I said, you know, just try it. You know, he was like, yeah, man, sounds really good and blah, 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 blah. But, man, he was really just a scared motherfucker to do anything. And Bagwell, while you're at it, won't you just tell it like it is, motherfucker? Every spot, everything that you ever known, every tag team move that was given to us that was ever done was my idea. Alright, motherfucker, you didn't have a brain that worked right. Alright, you know, you was a kiss-ass motherfucker. I gotta go get Lex and I gotta go get Sting. I want to carry their bags because I'm their bag boy. You did that shit so much, man, that Sting and Lex can't stand your ass. You know what I'm saying? And then you call around doing this perpetrating bullshit. Man, tell you the truth, Bagwell is just another punk motherfucker. First of all, you couldn't keep your wife happy. You're down there messing around with some rat. You done got busted. I said, then your girl done had a baby by what that brother name? What that brother name in WCW? Yeah, I can't think of his name right now, but you know who I'm talking about, Bagwell. He the one, you know, your wife had the baby by? Oh, they don't know? Oh, I'm sorry. But anyways, I'm just gonna tell it like it is. Bagwell, I think you're a chicken shit motherfucker. You're scared, you're a little punk. Like I say, when we was a tag team, I thought we was a good tag team. Until you got all cockeyed and all that bullshit. Well, hey, so be it. Now, look where you be. You be on your own and you be at home with mama still because you're a mama boy. And I tell you what, if you hear this interview and you see this promo and you got anything you want to say to Too Cold, well, if you want to fight me, I'll meet you in the States, I'll meet you in Japan, I'll meet you wherever you want to meet. If you want to wrestle, if you want to shoot, it don't matter. If you just want a street fight, I will be more than happy to whoop your ass for you. Free of charge. It won't cost you a dime to get your ass whooped by me. Why? Because I think you're a punk. Why? Because you're just a punk. Bottom line. I have nothing else to say about Bagwell, but kiss my black ass, and I hope to see you in the future someplace, because I got something for you. And it ain't what you want. Peace out, baby.
What's your memories of your matches against the Nasty Boys? You had a series of matches.
Oh, man, the Nasty Boys, man, they some wild partying motherfuckers, man. Brian, man, I'll tell you, man, I mean, I had some good times with them boys, man. They're the type of boys that they're just rough. They're brawlers. They like to fight. I'm going to say we probably had one small incident between us, if there was any. Some blows was being thrown. They was throwing some blows in there, snug and tight. Me, myself, I answered. When I answered, there was no problems, because they're from the old school. Old school is respect is earned, not given. I earned my respect, and they giving it to me. So I enjoy working with Knobs and Slater. The only thing that I've ever asked them was, please don't give me that armpit bullshit, whatever you do. Because if you do that shit, all wrestling shit is out the window. Because we ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, man, fighting them guys, man, I got to give it to them. As big as they was, they don't look like no athlete. They look like your Dusty Rhodes. You know what I'm saying? Not your typical athlete type of a body, but still hella fire guys. When they got in the ring, they can get that fat ass across the ring, brother. They get to moving, and they took their business seriously to a certain extent to a period of time. And I really enjoyed working with those guys, man. You know, I would have to say I enjoyed it.
Okay, what about you had a series of matches against Steve Austin and Brian Pillman? What's your memories of those?
Ooh, the series that we had with them, they were some good series. I'm going to say we had some hella fire matches, some good matches, and a lot of it having to do with, you know, Steve, and had a lot to do with myself with the ideas and stuff that we had. Brian Pillman had some ideas and some stuff that he wanted to do. Bagwell always had his 2 cents to input, which didn't mean shit. But as far as Steve and Brian and myself laying out the fucking matches, I thought we had some great matches. I loved and I enjoyed enjoyed working with Austin, man. I think Austin, at that given point, Austin had got my respect from way back when in WCW when I first came there. From the simple fact is that he was doing title shots for the U.S. title with Rick Rude all around the world. He was doing Broadways, 20 minutes, 30-minute Broadways. And when I came in, he had to do a job for me one night, and like 9, 7, 8 minutes, 9 minutes. And Steve Austin came to me and he said, Scorp, he goes, I have nothing against you. He goes, but I've been doing 20-minute Broadway with Rick Rude. He goes, I'm going to be damned if I'm going to go out there and put your ass over in 7 or 9 minutes. And he goes, now I want you to come with me and go over and talk to Grizz and let him know the deal. He goes, unlike everybody else, they will go talk to the agents behind your back and get shit changed. He goes, I'm not that type of man. He goes, I'm going to do the job for you. He goes, but I'm going to go let this motherfucker know I'm not going to do it in those 7 or 9 minutes. And from that day on, I'll take my hat off to Austin. He can be a redneck, he can be whatever, but to me, he's a man that I really like and I really trust. And I enjoy working with Austin. As far as working with Brian Pillman, I couldn't stand working with him because he was always threatened. For the simple fact is that I was a great high flyer, good high flyer, much better than he was. And I really truly believe that's what the problem and everything came from with Flying Brian. But nevertheless, when it was time for the bell to ring, it was like I had to pull teeth when I worked with Brian. I had to take what I wanted. As far as I'm working with Austin, it was more, let's go and make this look good, let's have a good show, let's do what we got to do. Okay. And that I enjoyed.
When you won the tag team titles, were you surprised that the tag title reign was so short?
Yes, I was. Mm-hmm. I was really surprised. I thought, man, we won the tag team belts. I'm like, the fans are going crazy. We got the fans, we got the people, we got everybody behind us. I'm thinking, come on, man, let us take these belts, let us run with them for a while, and let's get these people in here. I mean, they was behind us. Man, Bagwell, shit, we had a little dance going on, man, shit, we had it going on. And the bottom line is, man, is like, you win the belt today, woohoo! And then the next day you're losing on a TV taping. But yet, in the rainings and the lookings, looked like you held the belt for a whole week or 2 weeks. To me, that sucked. To me, that was bad planning, bad booking, and probably a whole lot to do with a whole lot of prejudice at the time of being down there in WCW.
Okay. Going to New Japan, you had an opportunity to compete in the top of the Super Junior tournament in 91, 92, and 93. What stands out to you from those tournaments?
What stands out to me the most about them tournaments would happen to be, whether it's 91, 2, or 3, is the talent of the guys that you get in there to work with. I mean, the matches that I had with Jushin Thunder Liger, Dave Finlay, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, I mean, at the time, who was Black Cat, you know what I'm saying, Nicholson. I mean, all of these guys, I mean, the things that I can remember about it is it's really hard to say, or it's really hard to tell a true fan what it's like to be involved in such a big deal inside of a big tournament, even though I felt that I probably should have won 1 or 2 of them tournaments, which never happened. But I still believe the best and the greatest experience of all is making it through the first, second, and third round and making it to the finals. I've always been 9 out of 10 pretty much in the finals, even if I didn't go over. And I think, to me and stuff, man, that was just one of the greatest experiences, and probably the most memorable thing that I can remember about all of it was just the different talent of all the different guys and the different moves of so much atmosphere of athletic enthusiasm and ability from all these different guys in one group, and amazing on how every night you can go out and work with somebody different and have a different style of match of high flying with probably of some of the greatest moves and some of the greatest suplexes ever done in the world that you'll probably ever see in any type of a match.
Is there any competition backstage among you guys as to who could pull off the best moves or who could have the best matches?
I don't think in Japan we had that ego trip as much as you do in the States. Now, working in the States, you always got that ego trip on who gonna do the best move, who can do the best moonsault, the best high flying, the best finish, who's got the best interest, all that. I think over here in the States, that's more important over here. As far as in Japan, it wasn't a big thing in the back, who's got the best moves. Okay, this guy over here, he can do this, so I'm gonna have to do this to try to top him. I don't think it was all about that. I think it was more about, let's go out and have the best match you can. I want you to be at your 110% of the best moves or the best stuff you can do. I'm going to do the best 110% of the best moves that I can do, and let's see if we can put it together and blow the roof off this mother. And I don't think there was so much as ego trips in the back when I was there and stuff. I didn't experience any of it, if it was.
Okay. Through your career through the end of WCW, including Japan and Mexico and WCW, who's your favorite booker to work for and why? And your least favorite?
Wow, that's a tough one. I says in all the groups right now, I would say working for Noah, I would say Mizawa would probably happen to be one of the best guys that companies that I probably could be working for right now is Noah. As far as some of the best bookers, even though it was a short time and he was real prejudiced, I would have to say Bill Watts would have to be one of them. For the simple fact is that he was pushing me. He was pushing me to be something that he knew that I could be, that I knew I could be. And that I really appreciate. Also, I would have to take my hat off to Paul Lee. Paul Lee is one of them type of guys who's very smart, probably too smart for his own good. Hell of a booker, hell of a talent, and dumb and stupid all at the same time. This guy had something going on that nobody else had going on, had a great following, and turn around to sell it to somebody who owns everything that's going on already. And now, since that happens, there's very few territories to go around that's been building up. But I would have to say Paul Lee was probably one of the guys that I enjoyed working for. For the simple fact is you got the time and the quality to do the promos and learn how to do a promo the right way. And some of the storylines and things that he had going was real good. I would also say that even for me working for Vince, I thought Vince was a type of guy that's a power control guy. Vince is one of the boys, but also one of the guys that's in power that's also let you know that I'm an asshole. Vince is an asshole, but you got to be an asshole in this business to make money. And that's why Vince has made so much money like he has made. And what happened was in an incident when I finally left WCW, WWF, I want to say is probably pissed Vince off at the given point in time. For the simple fact is that Vince was ready to do something with me, but I had family problems, another issue that I had to deal with. And so to me, I'm going to say as far as my experience up there, Vince was probably one of the guys that, you know, that I could adapt it to as well. But as far as the best promoters in anybody I've ever liked, I'm going to have to say Carlos Minus, CML out of Mexico. He was probably one of the best and most strongest mans that I probably could have worked for. And I'm saying right now it would have to be Mizawa, that, you know, that I really truly, you know, like and trust as far as a man of his word, that I can go without saying a piece of paper being signed. As far as Vince or somebody else, I would have the sign on the dotted line. Okay. You know.
Going back to WCW with the team with Bagwell and all that, was there ever a time you were frustrated and felt that you should have been pushed more?
Well, there was a lot of times that I thought that we should have been pushed more, and very frustrated.
Did you ever complain to the office or anything?
I wasn't the type of guy that would go to the office and complain. I would more or less complain, you know, to myself or to Bagwell. I said, how come we're not getting the push? How come we're not doing that? And another thing about Bagwell that really puts me off is when it came to Bagwell doing a job, or it came to me going over and Bagwell going to the back, behind my back, and getting stuff changed. You know, to me, if you're going to be a team, that's something you should consult with your teammate or your team partner first before you go and discuss it. Now, Bagwell being, you know, an office boy, a kiss ass, or whatever you want to call him, you know, that could have worked to our advantage. You know, okay, let's talk about what we need to do now. You go and present it to them and tell them, how come we're not getting a push? How come we don't do this and do that? So to me, that was real frustrating at the time that we wasn't getting a bigger push, because we was getting a very good crowd response from the people everywhere that we went. And so to me, it was a real disappointing that we didn't get the straps or keep them for a long time or have the long run and stuff. So,
okay, jumping over to ECW now. How did you end up getting a job in ECW?
Basically, ECW, just like I say, just bounced around, man. From after the WCW, Paulie basically getting word, tired them, saying, hey, come down here, check it out. Went down, did a show with Sabu, went down and worked one time with him, came back, Paulie and them liked it. Next thing you know, he started bringing me in a few more times. The next thing you know, I started being a regular. So it was just basically just by word of mouth and a phone call that I got the chance and opportunity to probably go down and work in ECW. But I'm going to say the first time that I probably did was probably because of Ty Gordon.
Could you tell that ECW was going to be something special, or was it just another indie booking for you?
For me, at the given point in time, I had no idea that ECW would be as big as it turned out to be. For as far as I knew, it was going to be just another indie booking, especially considering the first place we were, Farmers Market, way out there in no man's land. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is just another fucking indies. But my thing is I love working the indies. If you can go out to, this goes for any of you independent guys out there nowadays. If you can go out and you can work for 100 people or less, believe me, and make them people scream, hoot, and holler. When you go and you wrestle for a crowd of 5,000 or 2,000, it's going to be easy. Because to me, to work for a crowd of 50 or 100 people is the hardest thing to do. You know.
Okay. Now, in 1995, did you have a leg injury that you were trying to keep quiet from everyone that you worked through?
I had the injury and basically wasn't really just trying to keep it quiet. It was just trying to weed it out for as long as I can before I would have to have surgery done to it. Okay. And at one time I had a staph infection in the left leg, which to a point where they was almost going to amputate my leg. And I ended up staying out in Cherry Hills Hospital for 7 days on IV. 2 days after, I went to Japan and worked over there on a 2-week tour. Yeah. I've had bad knees probably from long time football injuries in sports and chronic arthritis, bone spurs, constant the high flying and stuff that I do in general. I had the right leg cleaned out, scoped and everything. I'm yet to have it fixed, and I need to have the left one done as well. But as far as keeping it quiet, there was no such thing as really keeping it quiet. It was nobody's business at that time and stuff. So.
Okay. What are your memories of your early series of matches against Sabu in ECW?
This motherfucker is crazy. He smoked more weed than I smoke, and he can remember that shit too. I mean, damn. I mean, my early days working with Sabu is like, alright, he's the nephew of the Sheik, the original Sheik. I mean, the motherfucker who carry blades on almost every finger. Somebody who's got a knife in this boot, a fork in this one, a nail on this side. I mean, I'm thinking to myself now, he's the nephew of this kid now. He's subject to have a blade on every hand, just like his dad, or his uncle, I should say. And to me, I've always wanted to work with Sabu. I seen him work. I liked his style. I liked the way he could just run and have that super balance like a cat and run and jump off a chair, jump on the top rope and have that balance and do some of all that crazy shit that he could do and stuff, you know. I mean, some of my early days of working with him, I can remember me and Sabu, that right hand, I'll never forget that right hand. We get out there and lock up. He had that right hand that kind of reminded me of a Ron Simmons right hand. I mean, when he hit you with it, he was gonna hit you with it, at least for about the first 4, 5, or 6 times until he got that timing down just right. You know, but you're guaranteed to get a right hand and a boot upside the head just about every time, or a chair across the face, you know. And so for me, it was not a point of being scared, but a point of being a little leery on, okay, what's this move gonna do? All right, I ain't never taken this one. I think this one might hurt a little bit, you know. So to me, it was a great experience and something new to wrestle with Sabu in my first earlier days. And the more as we worked with each other, we kind of got that chemistry together too. It's like, all right, man, no matter what we do, we're gonna have a good match, you know. And even still to this day, I believe that anywhere around the world that we hook up, we're going to have a good match. We're probably going to smoke some big weed first, but then we're going to have some hellified matches and smoke big weed after too, though. You know, but we're going to damn sure going to turn the roof down on the mother, though, I believe, at any given point in time. So,
what do you think about the use of tables? That was probably the first time you worked with them, and chairs and all that.
First time and probably the last time I ever want to take some more tables and chairs. That motherfucker told me he was going to lay my ass on the table, don't do a moonsault, going to put me through the damn table. I said, yeah, right. And you know what I'm saying? Because to me, where I come from, that wasn't wrestling. Wrestling wasn't hitting nobody in the head with a chair. And it wasn't like, I'm going to put through this table, and then I'm going to jump 50 feet up in the air, and then I'm going to drive my ass and legs through you to the floor. You know, so, I mean, that first time of taking that experience, it was definitely an experience in itself. But after I've taken a few, it's like, damn, that ain't so bad. It's a little bit softer than falling on the hard floor, you know. So, you know, over a period of time, after you get used to that pain and that the cut of the wire from the table when it breaks and it cuts you, once you kind of get used to it, it's not really all that bad.
Were you ever upset with the fact that Sabu like almost always went over in your matches together?
No. To a point, yes. To a point, no. As far as I wasn't a regular at the given point in time, and he was, you know, okay, you got to keep your regular strong. I had no problem. I've always wanted to have good matches. Then as time went on, it was like, hey, come on now. I've done enough jobs for this motherfucker now. I know he can do some jobs for me now. You know, and I felt like maybe he shouldn't have had a problem to do no jobs for me. And I don't think that he had any problems about doing the jobs for me. He probably wouldn't want to do any at that given point in time. But hey, if you say we was to work today or whatever, hey, Sabu, would you do a job for me? You know, me, myself, personally, I would probably say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, he would say yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What are your memories of the night that he broke his neck in the match versus Chris Benoit, and then you had to do an impromptu match right on the spot with Benoit?
Man, that was that's kind of like a wrestler's worst nightmare, to see another wrestler get hurt. I don't care, even if you don't like nobody, if you can't stand nobody, it doesn't matter. But for a friend or somebody that you like, to see him to go out and hurt his neck in the middle of a match, and the people are sitting there and they're thinking, you know, what are we going to do? We want this match. We want to see something. And that's, you know, you're looking at main event or something. You have to give the people something. At that time, I was concerned about, you know, Sabu. Is he all right? But at the same time, I was concerned about, okay, are these people getting their money's worth? You know, somebody's got to go out and cover that match, and let's continue. Let's have another good match. You know, and so I just felt like, hey, I'm still got my boots halfway laced up. I'm still halfway laced on. Why not if I just run out and pitch it? And I pitched the Paulie on the spits out. He's like, damn, that sounds good. Do it. So, I mean, me and Chris had no fucking idea. Chris had no idea I was coming. I had no idea I was coming, and had no idea what the match was supposed to be or what was going to go on during the match. You know, but I thought that it was great on my behalf and on Chris' behalf to pick up, and as far as me to pick up and to go out there and carry on after Sabu had got hurt and still give the people a great show and their money's worth and stuff. So
how difficult was it to do that match in the ring without any time to talk it over? Or
working with a talent like Chris Benoit? Not very hard. Okay. Me and him, like I said, we have that past chemistry, that past history on how we worked so much in the past that we could probably go out and not even say nothing to each other and could almost tell what the next person is going to do by the way that you're motioning it. you know. And I think for me, going out in that time, in that match, it was probably easier for me to go out there and work with Chris Benoit and call something in the ring on the spot than it would have been for somebody else to try to go out there and do it and call it on the spot, because of our chemistry from past history of working.
Okay. What are your memories of working Shane Douglas? You had the one very famous match at the end of the NWA title tournament where he won and threw the belt down, but you also had other matches. How did you like working Shane?
Shane Douglas. You mean Dr. Shane Douglas? Are you still a doctor, or did you even get your degree, or you just fucked it off and said, hey, fuck it? But anyways, no. Shane, he was alright, man. But tell the truth, you was scared, and you was a little chicken shit motherfucker too. Now, I put your ass over, Shane. I made you look good. I made you look like $1 million. Not one time, not 2 times, but I made you look like $1 million many of times. Why? Because I enjoyed you. I liked working with you. I thought we had some good chemistry. But the bottom line is you never returned the favor, and I thought that without me, if you would have tried to have that same match with somebody else, they would have shit all over it. Because by yourself, you're not that good. By myself, I'm alright. But together, we're even better. So Shane, too bad you're out of shape and no longer working. Because you owe me a few jobs, cocksucker. But anyways, nevertheless, I thought me and Shane, that night we had a TV title match and stuff. I thought that was a hell of a match. I thought we had some great matches. He had some great ideas. I had some great ideas. And the things that we put together for that match, I believe, came off very well. And we executed all of our moves and everything to a T.
Do you remember that 4-way that you had with Jericho and Shane and Pitbull too? That's one of the more famous ECW matches. What's your memories of that one?
That was a tiring mother sucker. I mean, you got 4 guys in there. You're battling back and forth, hooting and hollering. Anybody can get in, anybody can get out. You just never know what's going to happen. That was probably my first experience, first time working with Lion King, Jericho. I seen him work when he was over in Japan, UWF, a lot of times. I've always wanted to work with him. That springboard moonsault that he used to do, I used to think that was one of the most beautiful things that he did, and especially when the guy did that and he hit him with that drop kick and stuff. I thought that was just a hell of a move. So to have him in there working, man, I thought that was just, phenomenal. And then Dean himself, I mean, you're talking about somebody who puts you in the mind of a Bret without a face expression. A technician, a guy who knows every hold, every move's in the book. And then you're looking at myself, who could flip, flop, and fly, probably with some of the best of them, and shoot with just about all of them. And probably, hold my own, probably would have a little trouble with Dean as far as shooting. But other than that, I think with all the time that we had in there, I think that was probably one of my hardest or first time 4-way matches I've ever had to pull off.
Okay. What about you in the match where Taz broke his neck? With it was you and Dean and Taz. What's your memories of that?
Was it me and Dean? Or was it me and Chris against Taz? All I know is Taz got his neck broken, and in all honesty, it was a good thing for Taz and a bad thing for Taz, all at the same time. Taz had a big head. He had a big mouth. He was running around like he was the big shot, the big shit, the toughest little motherfucker in the locker room, because he had that small man syndrome. When, in all honesty, he was a real nice guy and a good guy, and he didn't have to act like that. So his problem was he had heat from everybody else. Everybody else, you got heat from everybody else. Everybody started talking to me. Everybody started talking to that person. Next thing you know, we got to go out and show you a lesson. You ain't as tough as you think you are. And so that match prior was purely to show you and teach you a lesson that you ain't as tough as you think you are. That at any given point in time, that somebody could hurt you or anybody could take you out if we really want to take you out. And that was a lesson, and that was something for you, Taz, to learn and to study off of. Don't be an asshole and don't walk around like the big shit. try to get along with everybody, man, because we're all about the same thing. We all want to make a living. We all want to make a dollar bill. You know what I'm saying? So when you're walking around and you're acting like you're the tough shit, believe me, somebody's going to step out, they're going to pull your card, and they're going to see what's up. Because where I come from, we don't buy wolf tickets. Alright? So if you want some, you got to come and get some. But as far as Taz himself in general, once you knew Taz was just Taz. He was alright. Taz in the orange and black getting the ring, he was an asshole.
When he was injured during that match, did you guys know there was something immediately wrong, or how did that all play out?
We felt, because right away he grabbed his neck. So we kind of felt like maybe, me myself, I thought perhaps a sprain or a jam. In a situation like that, you never know what could happen. You know, the way that he went down and the way that his neck had bent at the time when he hit, you could have swore he had broke his neck. So there was some concern, even though there was a lot of guys who didn't like Taz in that match, who didn't like Taz, was still concerned about Taz. Is he seriously hurt? Is he going to be okay? Because I don't care, even if you like a guy, you don't like a guy, when a guy gets hurt in the ring, you still want to know, is he okay? Is he all right? Especially when it was unintentional. And if it was on purpose, if it was something done purposely, then there's no reason to apologize for anything. You know, but in this situation, it was an accident. It was something that's a freak of nature, something that just happened. And we was concerned, at the time that it happened, but at the same time, I was kind of glad that it happened so that he could learn.
Now, you also had a few matches with the Steiner brothers in ECW. How are they to work with?
Well, me and the Steiner brothers, we go way back from New Japan days. Okay. Back in the day when we was working in New Japan, I seen them guys work when I was a young boy. And I used to see them work all the time, and then we had a chance and an opportunity to work together a few times. And then once we came down and I had a chance to work in ECW with them, it was like great, because they came from Japan. They understood the Japanese style, they understood the American style, as well as the Mexican type style. So for me, it was a pleasure anytime one of the top guys came in with a name for me to work with, regardless if I was going to go over or if I had to put them over. So I enjoyed working with the Steiners and stuff.
Okay. What did you think when you formed a tag team with the Sandman? Did you guys think did you think you guys would make a good tag team?
I thought we was an awkward ass motherfucking tag team. You got Big Smoke and you got Big Drink. Damn. Now you got one that's Big Drink and Big Smoke and Big Smoke, Big Smoke. I'm like, damn, we're some fucked up tag team. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the shit that I could do and the stuff that he could do, there was no comparison. But when it came down to brawling, fighting, swinging a stick, or out drinking somebody, Sandman was the man to have. I'm trying to tell you, man, he could swing a stick, brother, like no man I've ever seen. Now, he got that goddamn Singapore King, and I was like, damn, brother, I'm so glad me and you are tag teaming now. I don't have to fight you no more, because I'm tired of taking that Singapore King stick in the head, because that thing hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, I thought we was an awkward team. I didn't think we would go as far as we went. I really surprised myself to see how far we went with Woman as our manager, and even as we switched over and had Missy as our manager. I thought we were still getting a good crowd response, and I thought we was having some good matches. Even though I was probably doing 85% of the work, Sandman doing 25% of the work, but he did all the hard partying and I just did the other 25-30%. So we made a hell of a tag team because we just worked out perfect.
How do you like working with Nancy and Missy?
Oh man, I mean, I liked working with Nancy because she always seemed to be professional. I liked working with Missy because she had them big old titties and ass and something to look at, and then she started getting her lips filled with that cottage cheese, or and then start getting her ass filled all up, and then, next thing you know, one thing leads to another, this leads to another, shit starts sagging a little bit, then you don't start looking as good as you used to look. But at the time, I thought it was all good. Only problem I had is why Missy ain't never sucked my dick. Why she ain't never gave me no pussy. You know what I'm saying? That I did though. I mean, everybody named Mama done got some. Now, how come Scorpio didn't get none? You know what I'm saying? Now that's fucked up. but at the same time, thank God I never got none, because I would have to be going and getting that 6-month checkup every month, and I ain't trying to hear that. So, Missy, I'm sorry I missed out, but thank God I did. I miss you. Peace out, girl. Oh no.
Did you or any of your opponents ever have a problem with Sandman since he was drunk all the time going into the matches?
Yes, I'm gonna say as far as the posse, which the original posse was Todd Gordon, me, Sandman, Fonz, and Nancy. I'm gonna say out of all of us, we knew how to deal with him. There was probably 1 or 2 guys who had a problem with him. One of the guys, I want to say, was Mick Foley, who really had a problem with Cactus drinking. Toward the end, as Hack started drinking more, there was a few more other guys that was shying off who didn't want to work with him because he was drinking too much or he was too fucked up prior to a show or whatever. But there was only, like I say, a handful of guys that would ever say anything. And unfortunately, the handful of guys that said something wasn't guys that was all about the drinking and smoking before the match. And, basically I just take my hat off for them, because nobody really wants to go out and end your career with somebody who's out there drinking, drug, or drunk, or whatever the case might be.
Did it ever get Did it ever get ugly, or any backstage works, or almost?
I'm going to say there's been a few words that was passed, a few things that was said, but I'm going to say everything was probably hashed and taken care of in the locker room. ECW was an open locker room. Paulie, Todd Gordon, everybody was around. If you had something to say, it was pretty much said. If there was something that was said in privacy, a lot of times it was Paulie or Todd Gordon or one of the other guys that was in there at the time when something else was said. So it got a little heated, but not to a point where anybody wanted to fight or throw any blows at each other, until later on.
What was the party and drug scene like in ECW?
The partying and the drug scene in ECW is like being on Las Vegas Strip live 24/7 non-stop. I mean, the party scene was like, damn, I'm on 4th. Damn, let me go do a line. Damn, man, shit, man, I'm gonna go smoke a joint now. I was like, anybody got any somas? I do. Anybody got any new baby? Yeah, I do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the drug scene was so fucking heavy down there. I'll never see how the company ever ran, how we all went out there and had fucking matches and pulled it off like we ever did. But then I started thinking back, well, maybe he took that chair shot in the head, had to go to the hospital and get 20 stitches in his head because we was fucked up. Or I never thought about maybe I was just too high or the other guy was too drunk when we went out there in the damn ring that we damn near killed each other. And the people who enjoyed it, they got off on it, but we're walking around limping, hurting, got stitches in your eye, can't go out and party no more and shit till next weekend because you done did too much party the night before the match. So I'm going to say the drug scene down there was wonderful. It was great. It was real nice. And at the same time, it was real fucked up because when people was controlling it, it wasn't so bad. When they started letting it get too far gone, started doing the shit too much out in the open, not really caring about who said, who's doing what, then that's when the scene got too bad. And so when Paulie finally started cracking back, started getting on people's ass, I thought it was good for the company and that it was a good change, man, because we was getting too far gone. And if there could have been more incidents instead of just chair shots, broken eggs, and a few stitches, it could have been, heart attacks. It could have been, something else. Now you're looking at a guy that has no insurance, getting lawsuits up the yang. He can't afford to pay all the fucking money that he owe everybody already, let alone a lawsuit. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably good that that ECW came to a stop and that the drug scene came to a stop when it did down there, because it was heavy. I mean, it was like walking down through the hood. I mean, you walk through ECW, you be like, yo, anybody got any rock? But if you're in the car, they're like, yeah, I do. You know what I'm saying? Shit, Scorpio be the first one over there line talking about, yo, Jenny Craig Dad, can I get 2, please? You know what I'm saying? Man, that shit ain't nice. Ain't nothing nice about that shit. No. You know what that is, man? You start start smoking cocaine, you start snorting coke, then you start smoking shit. Next thing you know, you're doing someone's new bang. The next shit. Next thing you know, you got a paycheck that look like this. But at the end of the week, you owe motherfucking money. Ain't it's about that. You go out and work at ECW, you be like, damn, I'm working for free. I'm working for free because I owe the drug man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But you be like, yeah, how much money did you make? I made 2 grams and $3. You know what I'm saying? Shit. That shit was heavy, man. It ain't even right. Ain't even right.
Was ECW the worst locker room as far as the drug use went that you've been in?
ECW was the best locker room that anybody could ever be in, and the worst one as far as drugs. I mean, if the cops would have rolled up in that motherfucker, everybody and their mama would have been going to jail. I mean, from the camera crew down to the booker. I mean, to the job guy. Everybody would have been going to jail in that motherfucker and shit, bro, because it was like knee deep. I mean, if the shit would have started snowing, you would have been stepping in nothing but drugs. All right?
What was the ECW locker room like? Was it besides the drugs? Was it a political place? Was there a lot of ass kissers? How you describe it? Was it a family
a
atmosphere?
locker room is like any other locker room around the world. You got your ass kissers. You got your motherfuckers who just don't give a fuck, and then you got your locker room of thugs. I mean, a thug like New Jack, but other than that, man, I mean, you just had a locker room full of a whole lot of motherfuckers who basically got along with everybody. I mean, there was a few segregated areas. Shane Douglas, some of the top guys, some of the kiss-ass guys, they would be over here. And, you know, Todd Gordon and his crew and his boys, they would be up here, upstairs. Some other guys would be over here. And then you got your wannabe motherfuckers like, damn, I want to have a job and shit. You know, he be standing over in the damn corner and shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, a locker room, it was probably the best locker room you could be in, but one of the most fucked up locker room you could be in at the same time. Because just like you said, in every locker room you're going to have your stooges, you're going to have your kiss asses, you're going to have all that. And unfortunately, Paulie had a handful of them motherfucking kiss asses and a handful of them motherfuckers that go for this, go for that, I'll pay you next week, that motherfuckers believe. Alright? I'm a motherfucker, I got 5 kids, 6 kids to feed, wife, rent, and bills to pay. I don't like no checks that bounce. I like cash money and like to get paid. So Paulie, to let you know, I think you still owe me some money, don't you? If you do, motherfucker, I want it in cash, because I am not taking no checks from your ass. Even though you work up there at WWE, I know your shit is still bouncing. Mile high shit, my brother. You do not write bad checks to your talent, because when I write a bad check, I cannot get no drugs for my shit. Damn you, cocksucker.
One night in Plymouth meeting, you had a little incident with Mr. Hughes. What was that all about?
Mr. Hughes, baby Hughes. You mean that motherfucker that used to be real fat, snore, fall asleep, now he lost all the weight? Same person?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. Hughes! Oh! How do I remember? I remember I wanted to whoop your ass so bad I could taste the fat off your ass. But let me tell you what, for all the folks out there who don't know what's going on, we out there, of course, everybody know, ECW style matches is hardcore matches. There's going to be some hard hitting, going to be some hard kicking, going to be some tables flying, some chairs smashing. This ain't no WWF. No. Don't touch me. I don't want to get hit. See, this is what the problem was. Hughes, you was down in WWF too damn long. You got up there, you stepped in the ring with Tuco and said, damn, look, another brother. He gonna take care of me. Little did you know, I'm just like everybody else. I'm trying to get another dollar bill to feed the family. And when you step in the ring and you sign your 9 line on a dotted line and the bell goes ding ding, it's time to get it on. And the bell went ding ding and I was trying to get it on and all you wanted to do was get gone. So, little did you have to know, I had to call your ass out and let you know, if you leave this ring and you do not come back here, when I get back to that locker room, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to knock you the fuck out. And I was shooting. And I want everybody to know I was shooting. So, of course, he didn't come back out. So, once again, like I had to do a few times, Sabu had to run out, make the save in the match, because the match went on 3, 4, 5 minutes. He either blew up or he got tired of me tagging his ass. Either way, he didn't want to work no more. So he wanted to go back to the locker room. So Sabu had to come out and finish the match. When I got done, I was mad. I was hot. I mean, I'm ready to kick this fat motherfucker's ass. So I stepped to him, asking what the problem is. Oh, no, man. I don't want to work like that, man. Not serious, man. If I get back to the back, if your ass is still back there, we're going to fight. And you know what I'm saying? The bottom line is, if everybody wasn't there, if he wasn't such a pussy that he is, I would have whipped his ass, man. But there was no fight, no competition. So it's like, what is like hitting with a girl, beating on a bitch, man. Why you want to beat on a bitch that don't hit back? You know what I'm saying? We got girls in ECW that would hit back and fight more harder than he did. You know, so I have a real problem with Houston. And when I see him again, brother, I ain't forgot. And the shit is still on. I still owe you a knockout. I'm gonna knock you the fuck out, and I promise you that. To this day, I promise you, whether it be in Atlanta airport, whether it be in Philly airport, wherever I see you, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out because of that incident in ECW. And when I do it, it's done and it's over. I don't want to hear nothing else. We can shake hands, we can be friends, but not until I knock your ass out.
Okay. What are your memories working with Public Enemy?
Public Enemy. I enjoy working with Public Enemy, man. Public Enemy remind me of some, remember that movie, The Warriors or something?
Yeah.
Warriors, come on and play. I know them guys there, they remind me of, Public Enemy remind me of that, man. I mean, Teddy, I worked with him once before up in WCW when he was doing some gimmick up there. I'm sorry if I don't remember, but rest in peace. But nevertheless, man, I had great times working with Public Enemy because they was the type of guys that they was one to go out and let's try anything. They had the music and they had the crowd behind them. Hey ho, they had all the people jumping and screaming, and I liked that, man. I mean, they was entertaining. Johnny Grudge, man, he wasn't the best fucking wrestler in the fucking world. Teddy, man, he knew all the moves and could do it all, man. But we got to figure, man, Teddy was already 40-something odd years old and we finally had a chance to hook up. So it was basically, like you said, in ECW, it was either wrestle, fight, or brawl. And them guys, they could do it all. You know, Teddy was the wrestler. Grunge, he could wrestle a little bit, man, but basically he would fight, man. But believe it or not, man, he would get his fat ass moving back and forth across that ring and stuff, brother. And I believe, man, that, you know, in the day when we worked, I had some good matches with him, and I enjoyed working with him and stuff, you know. You know, Grunge, man, you know, he was the type of guy, man, he would go out, he would juice, he would work his ass off, bleed hard, and then afterwards, man, he's like, hey, man, fuck it, you know, let's go get some hoes, you know, let's go get some beers. And, you know, for a fat motherfucker like him, that he would get some pussy back in the day until he met up with this one girl. He met up with this one girl, next thing you know, he was all hooked up on the girl. And so I was like, Johnny, man, you want to go out and get some girl? He's like, nah, I got Mary Jane in my pocket. I got my girl at home. I don't want no pussy. I'm like, damn, this changed all up on a brother. You know what I'm saying? But Johnny, man, got nothing but love for you, baby. Peace out now. You take care of yourself. Lose some weight too, damn it.
What about with Teddy? You guys did some pretty crazy stuff. He did that moonsault off the top of the cage one time, and he did stuff with fire.
All that shit was Teddy's idea because I am not. Now the moonsault, I'm down with the moonsault. You know, me and Teddy, we can compromise on all that bullshit. But when Teddy started talking about the thing with the fire and the flames and all, I was like, man, I don't know. You talking about lighter fluid? I done got my leg burnt one time, like when I was like 14 working in a restaurant, right? I burnt my shit all up. So like playing with fire ain't one of the things I too much like to do. And so when it came down to tables being on fire, stuff like that, I was always a little leery. You know, and a little disappointed, you know, that, I mean, how can we can't go out and just have a good match? Why do we have to use a table and flames and this and that? It was because that's what the fans wanted, and we gave the fans what they wanted to see, so.
Well, what did you think of the angle where you lost the ECW TV and tag titles to Mikey Whipwreck?
I thought it was a good angle. First of all, it was a good angle when I took him from Teddy because first of all, I put the flames out on him, right? And then I'm holding his hands up like we're all buddies. And all of a sudden I hit him with a clothesline out of nowhere, short clothesline, bam, cover. Once now I'm the big heel, right? So then you got Mikey Whipwreck, you know, I mean, 200 pounds soaking wet with a brick in his pocket at the time. You know, now he's probably done blew up a good 230, 220, but at the time, man, he was a little small guy. So for me, me working the gimmick and the angle, like, man, you're just too small. You know, you need to be in here with 3 gold Scorpio. No, you don't need to be in here with 2 gold Scorpio. You need to be out there someplace. So I thought that for the opportunity and the chance for Mikey to capture all of it and make Cactus Jack his tag team partner at the time, I thought that was really great.
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion of Tommy Dreamer? He's a guy that didn't really work, but he was a big part of ECW.
Tommy Dreamer, I liked him. I worked with him a little bit. The thing about Tommy is Tommy's a kiss ass. Tommy's an office boy. He's a kiss ass. He's never really been all that great of a worker, but Tommy is a hell of a guy. He's a gentleman. He's a man, and he's a man of his word. There's a few times I had a few problems with Paulie, and I would talk to Tommy. Tommy would get everything taken care of, and Tommy would make sure that I got paid and that I got my money and that he took care of the bounce checks that I got from Paulie and stuff. So for Tommy Dreamer and stuff, man, I take my hat off to you, brother. I'm glad you're still doing good. Still glad you got your office job, because that's where you belong, is in the damn office. Not in the ring, but in the damn office. But much love to you and the family, baby. Peace out.
What are your memories of your last night in ECW? You won a series of Loser Leave Town matches, and then you finally dropped the last one to Louis Spicolli.
I thought that was it was a memorable night. It was a fun night, a sad night, and a joyful night all at the same time. Everybody knows the history in ECW that when a guy got ready to go to WCW, he was going to lay down and put the next guy over and go on about your job and move on up to WWF and go from there. And so I remember that night working, and Paulie remember telling me I'm going to have to work in like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, damn, I'm working 3 matches in one night? I'm like, no, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? At first it was only going to be 1 match, and then it was going to be Spicolli. And I says, no, we should do this and this and this, kind of play it a little bit. Let's stretch it out a little bit. And Paulie had this idea, and I kind of came up with this idea, and we thought the idea was really great. So we went out there and proceeded to pull it off, and I remember going out there working and all the fans screaming and booing and yay and so forth, and you know, you sold out, don't go, all this stuff, not really wanting me to go to WWF. I thought that was a real touching, real emotional time for me from all the fans, from the arena, to get that type of a crowd response prior to the match. And then once I did the slight little promo and tell everybody that when I leave and blah 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 blah, that you know I wasn't gonna miss not a damn one of y'all down here and shit, and got the big boo and the pop from the crowd and stuff. And I thought that was just, you know, really good and stuff. And then as the matches proceeded and we started to work, and I went through the first guy and stuff, and I want to say the first finish was what I want to say either the moonsault, probably I beat the first guy probably with the moonsault, and then the second guy was like you know, maybe even a twist off the top, even it was something real weak, and I can't exactly how many matches I had that night, but I do remember the finishing moves. It was like the twist off the top, the moonsault, the tongue where the backflip twist to the front flip leg drop, and then, you know, the 450, you know what I'm saying? I can remember hitting the 450 on, you know, TJ. But anyways, it came down to Louis, you know, that was probably one of the best, because it was going to have a chance to have a match, you know, after I came out and laid down on the mat and play like, okay, who's the next young up and coming star that I got to pass the torch on to? Come on out so I can do the job and get it over with, you know, and move on my way, you know. So I think that was kind of surprising to the people that I went through 1, 2, 4 matches prior to me losing to Spicolli at the time. Louis Spicolli, man, he was a good guy. He was a gentleman. I enjoyed being around him. Only problem was he was a big drinker and a heavy partier, like just about everybody was at the time in ECW. So to me, man, to get that chance and opportunity to work with him and to do the job for him, and as while I was moving on, to me it was a great opportunity to do it for him, and I really enjoyed working with him. I can just remember looking at some of the crowd's faces and responses is when I was telling Louis to tell the people and everybody that he was coming up to WWF with me and this and that, and everybody was kind of like, is he going to say it? No. And he's like, didn't tell the people at all, told them that he wasn't going, that he was staying here, and kind of shocked me that he wasn't going with me, and so we ended up having a match and all of this and stuff. And I believe, man, that that night was a very memorable night and a good night for me, having all those matches and being able to do that, and to walk out showing that I probably gave the people 4 or 5 of my best finishes I've ever done, probably over my whole entire life career, and was able to do them here as I moved on and was working my way up to WWF to step into a bigger league to try something new.
One name I just realized I forgot to mention was Rob Van Dam. Do you have any matches against him that stick out in your mind, and what was he like to work with?
The one that sticks out with working with Rob Van Dam, I want to say, is probably working when Fonzie was his manager at the time and stuff, and we was having a single match, and I remember the one move and stuff, man, where I can remember Rob telling me that Fonzie was gonna kick me and I was gonna nut myself on the top row, and that he was going to toss the chair up to me, Fonzie was, hold the chair in front of my face, and Rob was going to jump 3/4 across the ring, if not all the way across the ring, and hit me with this real hard, stiff, straight kick to the chair to my face. And to me, the first time that I heard that, I'm thinking, this motherfucker got to be out of his fucking mind, or he done smoked too much of that Blue Bonnet Chronic. And I couldn't figure out which one it was, but all I know is we was out in the back smoking together. And I was like, Rob, if you hurt me, man, I'm going to hurt you back. And he's like, good, hit me hard. And I'm like, Rob is crazy. I'm like, Rob is one of them guys talking about hit me hard because that's the way I like it, because that's the way I'm going to hit you. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, he out there going to try to knock my block off. I'm out there trying to knock his block off. But yet we good friends. And we just got done smoking a big fatty together. I'm like, damn, Rob is not right in the head. There's something wrong with him. He's not right. And I remember going after that match, man. I can remember Rob climbing up to that top rope, man. He's got these little bitty eyes. He looked like he's part Japanese or part Chinese or something. And I know I must have looked about the same and shit, because I was pretty fucked up during that match to even say, yeah, I'm going to take this chair shot from you, because I've never taken it. I've seen him take it, and looking at it on the monitor and looking at somebody else, I'm like, oh my God, Rob is just killing people with that kick. I'm like, my thrust kick is bad, my spin kick is pretty rough, but that chair and straight on kick is rough. But I can remember Fonzie telling me, Scorp, you might want to protect yourself and throw your hand up. And I'm saying, Rob, are you coming? He says, yep, I'm coming with it with everything I got. And all I know is I remember sitting up there on that chair, and that chair in front of my face, and I can't see Rob. All I see is this chair in front of me, and I know at any moment I'm getting ready to get blasted with this foot. And as I try to ease myself on the rope to look over the chair, I get blasted in the face with the foot and chair, and the chair slams into my face. He hits me, he drop kicks me in the face. I got hit in the face with the chair so goddamn hard, I could have sworn I was back in the ring with Andre the Giant or something. I mean, I haven't been hit or kicked that hard, and maybe since I got knocked out by Johnny Smith on the nip-up clothesline. I haven't been hit that hard in a long time. I hit hard, and I like it hard, and Rob like it hard, but I tell you, when Rob throws that kick, it's coming. And from now on, if I ever work with Rob, I mean, I can remember that one probably better than anything ever. And from now on, when I work with him, I know for sure this time when he throw the damn kick with the chair in front, I'm going for the block on your ass this time. So but Rob Van Dam, I'm happy for Rob. I'm used to working with Rob way back in the day on the independent circuit, back when Greg Price was running shows back in Georgia, South Georgia, back in the day. I worked with Rob Van Dam back then, and I can remember when he had this old little red beat up little car and shit, and man, he was sitting out in the back before the show smoking big weed prior to the matches. And the thing about Rob, that was probably over 10 years ago, and 10 years compared to now, Rob Van Dam hasn't changed. He's still just Rob Van Dam. I mean, he's Big Smoke. You just might as well just call him 420 24/7 because he's on it, doggone it. You know.
There's 3 guys that you've wrestled throughout your career, whether it's WCW, Japan, ECW, everywhere. So just some thoughts on each of them and maybe a memorable match or moment. The first one being Chris Benoit.
Oh, Chris Benoit. I tell you, man, Chris, he was one hell of a guy, man, one hell of an athlete. Chris was the one, when I first went to New Japan, that helped me out a lot too, as well as learning how to shoot, doing the squats, learning how to bridge, and things like that, so forth. So for Chris, I take my hat off to you, Chris. I say thank you for all the work and for everything that you ever done to help me out in the past and stuff. But the most memorable match I'll probably say that I can remember with Chris Benoit is in WCW. Back in the day, I want to say it was Starrcade, maybe '93.
Super Brawl, maybe?
Yeah, maybe Super Brawl, maybe Starrcade Super Brawl, I don't know. And that was many, many blunts ago. I get all that stuff confused nowadays and stuff, but I'm going to say the most memorable matches is probably with me and him, because we was doing 20-minute Broadway matches doing that circuit, working the whole circuit. And I mean, we was having some hella fight matches, and Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair was pretty much watching our matches every night, and they always had some good input on some criticism on what to do and what not to do, on how we should do this more and how we shouldn't do that more. And so me and Chris was listening to these guys and studying and taking everything in that they put along with our Japanese style. And the one night that we worked, I can remember us doing the big superplex off the top, and me and Chris remember both saying, let's just sell and let's change our style up and let's sell a little bit more. And we got more of a response and a bigger reaction from the crowd, I believe, during that match, because everybody knew that this is going to be a hot match, and this match can go either way. Chris Benoit can win or Too Cold Scorpio can win. I mean, you know, the match is that good, it can go either way. And I can just remember as the seconds started clicking and the match went on, one of the favorite moves that I remember, and I'm yet to find somebody yet, Chris Benoit, who can pull it off like me and you have, is to test the strength, down to the bridge, jump on top, catch the guy with your feet, push him off, jump up, boom, monkey flip, hold on, carry over, guy jumps up, monkey flip you, front flip, land on my feet, thrust kick, boom, into the arm drag. I'm yet to find somebody with that perfect timing to do it the same way that we done it that night. We've done it so many times and so perfect that it came off absolutely beautiful. And with the way that we went back into it, into a rest hold, which was something that we very seldom used over in Japan, and as we started learning to use rest holds and selling along with all of our great moves and his suplex and his German, I mean, that whole match just came off absolutely perfect. But to come down to, I'll never forget, before we went out, me and Chris Benoit both said, how long you guys want? Is it going to be another 20-minute ride? Where they said, no, we want Scorpio to go over closest as you can get to 2018, 19. We said, well, how about if we do 1958 or right at 20? They was like, no, that's too close of a chance. They said, can you guys? I said, we can do it. No problem, it can be done. I'll never forget me and Chris both saying that we could do it. And we went out there and had a hellfire match, and when we got ready to go to the end, they started the countdown. Full Nelson, boom, switch into the bam, full Nelson, drop into the Samson clutch, boom, pull down into the 1-2, to the kick out, to it again, to hold on to all I got, to the one, to the last seconds countdown, to the 1, 2, 3, where it was like 1958, 1959 seconds, just right to the last T. And I think that was probably one of the most memorable matches that I can ever remember having with Chris Benoit.
Okay. Second name is Dean Malenko.
Okay. Dean Malenko. Wow, the technician. it would hard to say which one was our better match. I'm probably gonna say our best match was probably in ECW. Me and Dean for the I'm going to say, was it a title match or not? I'm not really sure. I can't really recall, but I can remember working with Dean, just being a technician, working with him, and I can remember me hitting him with this super thrust kick. Boom, and him bumping, like I took his head off. And I've never seen Dean's face expressions, and probably in 10 or 20 years that I've ever worked with him, I've never really seen his face expressions change too much, unless it's changed to where he's done got hot. A hot look on his face, or more mad or more upset. I've probably never really seen his face expression never really change off his face. I can remember this one time, he always liked it hard. He wasn't really crazy about taking things that would land him on the back of his head or anything like that, but the one in particular match, I can just remember me just hitting him with this enormous thrust kick, and boom, him taking a fucking bump, and I can just see his eyes, for a second, his face expression changed, for a second, you know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, he is human. He can be hurt. He does have a face expression, but it's just, I learned a lot from Dean as far as the wrestling part, on how to slow it down and tell the story with the wrestling, how to grab a hold, go to a spot, something, and come back to the same hold that you started with. A true technician and stuff, he's the one that I really learned how to put the Texas cloverleaf on. He was the first one that I've really seen do it, really use it, and so now if I ever do it, if I ever use it, I always call either Texas cloverleaf or the Dean Malenko move, because he was one of the first guys that I seen do it. And just that match alone, I can just remember just his style and technique, and his face expressions never really changing in any other matches that I ever really had with him. But he was always a gentleman, and outside the ring he was always laughing and joking, and a character, type of a guy. He was a jokester, what I'm saying, but he was still just a hell of a guy and stuff, so. Mm-hmm. But as far as really detailed and wise on something in particular other than just that, it's really hard to say on what I can remember, other than, we've always had good matches,
Okay, third would be Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie, my brother Eddie. Let me see. It's hard to say if some of the best matches was in WCW or if some of the best matches was in Japan. I could, even on the indie circuit, when I was working with his uncles and brothers, Hector and Chavo, back in the day prior to me working with Eddie and stuff. And Eddie would come up to the show, and he was working at the time, and I never forget, we was in Mexico and they drove up and we had to work. But I'm gonna say, as far as Eddie himself is most memorable, I'm gonna have to say it would have to be Japan, Super Junior. I'm gonna probably say it was 92 or 93 of the Super Junior that we was in. And I can remember me and Eddie, we've worked so much together that we, it was just like we had the chemistry together. And it's one match I can remember in particular, our first couple spots that we went in, we done together to work. He was moving so quick and I was moving so quick that a lot of our shit was missed. I never forget that a lot of our quick spots was missed at a real, at a short time and stuff. And I got to a point where I started to get mad and started to get upset. And I can remember Eddie saying, man, hey, it's just a spot. Don't worry about it. He goes, as long as we remember to finish and we put off everything we got to do, it doesn't matter. And I can remember grabbing him, hooking him in the hole, telling him to slow down. But being Eddie, Eddie, man, he could throw with some of the best of them. Like I said, like Chris Benoit, he had the best clothesline. He probably one of the hardest clotheslines I ever got hit with. Eddie, he had that European uppercut, and he had that frogman splash off the top. And when he laid it in there, it was in there. When Eddie hit you, he chopped you. It's like, I could remember in that match, it seemed like everything we did, I could feel everything in that junior match. I don't know if it was because the red light was on, because there was a big match, you know, whatever, my body being sore, whatever. He was hyped, I was hyped, you know, and I can just remember in that match, everything that we've done, it just absolutely hurt it. And I can just remember Eddie going over with the Lamar straw, you know, to win the match and stuff. And he was the first time, and I seen Negro Costas was the first one I seen to use it when I worked with him a lot. And when Eddie did that and stuff, I changed it over and I started calling it the Negro Costas, and that's what Eddie calls it when he does it with me and stuff. So yeah, and I do remember that very well.
Okay. After ECW, you went to WWF. Was there ever a chance of going back to WCW, or how did you end up with WWF?
Vader.
Okay.
Once again, Vader. Vader was the one. He had went up there, and it was just a matter of time. He said, "I'm gonna get you a shot. I'm gonna get you an opportunity. I'm gonna try to get you up here." It probably had a lot to do with Paulie too, being friends with Bruce Pritchard at the time also as well. So Vader going through JR, maybe Paulie talking to Bruce Pritchard at the time. All of that together in itself probably had a lot to do with why and when I went to WWF at the time and stuff. So.
Did Paulie try to keep you, or was he just like, it's time to go to WWF, and that's why he tried to hook you up?
No, I don't think Paulie. Paulie liked me down there working, but I think Paulie was just like, this is not for you. It's time for you to move on.
Yeah.
You know, basically it's time for you to go on and stuff now. And I was ready to move on, and it was time to move on and stuff. And talking to the Steiners and Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner over the years throughout, they kept telling me the good things and the bad thing about WWF, and they kept telling me, man, it's an experience that every wrestler has to find out for himself. And so I was always wanted to get that opportunity and that chance to find out exactly on what WWF was about. And so I finally got that chance and opportunity to go up there and experience for myself. So.
What did you think of the Flash Funk gimmick and the Funkettes?
Man, I thought the Funkettes was sexy as hell. I thought I wanted to fuck the living shit out of both of them. Unfortunately, my wife thought that I fucked them, and I never did. And to this day, I still wish to God I did, but I didn't. But I thought that the Funkettes and me and myself with the Flash Funk gimmick was something hot. I thought it was something that was good, that was coming out. I wanted to come in as Scorpio, but everybody always comes in as a gimmick. I didn't like the part where coming in with the guitar, the singing, and all that. But as far as coming in with the outfits, the clothes, and the get-up, that was right up my alley. I like the Rick James rip off, bite off, you know what I'm saying, crack off, whatever you want to call it. But you know what I'm saying, I enjoyed it with the Funkettes. Me myself, you know, with the entrance, you know, becoming, you know, like one of the second longest entrance, you know, Undertaker's, you know, was number one. Shawn Michaels used to be number two until, you know, Flash Funk came along, and then Shawn Michaels had a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that between my wife bitching at the WrestleMania in Chicago, and the smell of weed all through the damn hallway, and Vince having to pay a big amount of money to keep it out of Chicago Heralds and not being written up, and keep the police and the dogs from coming up on my floor and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that has probably has a lot to do with why the Funkettes got gone a lot quicker before I did. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a matter of time before either I would have fucked up or they would have fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And with them being professional dancers too, I think it has a lot to do that they was trying to get a little bit more money and so forth, but how they worked for the Atlanta Hawk drill team and so forth and stuff like that. So, and the next team, I think that was one of the reasons that they slowly but surely kind of squashed the Funkettes. And they thought, you know, well, hey, you know, maybe now it'll slow them down. And to me, all they did was make me have to go out and dance hard and work a little bit more harder. And I enjoyed the gimmick for the longest, but then I just got tired of just being a gimmick, man, and wanted to be the real deal and go back to being Too Cold, because Too Cold's a shoot. You know, that ain't no work, you know, so.
Yeah. Well, what are your memories of your first night in WWF when they debuted at Survivor Series?
Wow, that was like at Madison Square Gardens. That was like awesome. That was like first time ever at Madison Square Gardens. I was a little disappointed in Madison Square Gardens though. I thought it was a lot bigger. It seems to hold a lot more people than what I thought. At the same time, it was very hectic and fucked up trying to find parking and find my way through New York than the first time being down through there. To me, that was like hell on wheels. Driving through New York from any vignette, that sucked for me. The 90 million thousand tolls that you run into, that sucked. The 10,000 screaming thousand folks, or how many people that they pack in that place, that was nice. That was real nice. And then also it was real memorable for me to be out there with Superfly Snooker, who was one of the guys that I grew up on, who I idolized and stuff. You know, I was like, oh man, he's a high flyer. You know, and he wrestles barefooted. I like that. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed that. And then to be in there with Kokina, you know, Yokozuna at the same time. We was real good friends in Japan. Him and Samu took me under their wings. They kind of showed me the ropes in Japan and stuff, as well as Vader. And then when I came down to WCW, he was still trying to help me and so forth. So to be in the ring with them and to be in the ring with Vader and some of all the stars and the names that was in there at the given point in time, I thought that was like real surprising, real good feeling for me that, hey, I'm in here in the rings with some of the guys I grew up watching. And, you know, now I get to show them on what I can do and stuff. So, and I think that when I went out there and hit the moonsault, hit Vader with the big drop kick clothesline, he went outside, went up to the top, and the moonsault from the ring, from the corner ring post to the floor, and just the sound of all the people screaming, hooting, and hollering and stuff, man. I just thought that was just a hellified outfit. And then later on, after I heard that the reason why Vince wanted me to wear the yellow and red, or the red and yellow that I wore, because it was all about throwing something out at, you know, Hogan or some bullshit, you know. So, you know, I thought that was pretty chicken shit about, you know, the whole deal. But nevertheless, I enjoyed the get-ups and the outfits and stuff. So,
yeah, what was the political scene like in the locker room?
Sucked. I mean, the political part, the suit and tie, takes the fun out of wrestling. I mean, I love the wrestle, I love what I do, but when you get in there with the suit and ties, man, it can really make wrestling the shits. It can really make you hate it. It can make you want to quit. It can make you do all kind of crazy shit. You know, so once you learn how to deal with the office and realize that the suit and tie is this and you still got to do this, you know, you'll be all right. But if you get caught up in the suit and tie, it's real easy to get caught up there and be fucked in the head and, you know, be off, and the next thing you know, you out of a job out in no man's land and stuff. So,
did you have any problems with the Clique, Nash, Hall, Michaels, Triple H?
No, tell you the truth, and honest to goodness truth, man, I never really had any trouble with it because I was more of a junior heavy type guy. I wasn't really a heavyweight, you know, top guy, and so they wasn't really threatened or didn't really have to worry about me. I tell you who was real nice to me, that was Undertaker. Undertaker was real nice. Even Nash and Hall, you know, they was real nice because I remember working with Nash and stuff back in the day when he was the Wizard over in New Japan when he first came, and then when I came back and he was in WCW, he was doing jobs for me, you know, night after night prior to him going up to WWF, changing his name, becoming the big star that he is today. You know, so I mean, they've done a lot of jobs for me, man, and I wouldn't have no problem today about returning a favor for him at any given point in time and stuff. So I had only problems that I had to get along with, I'm going to probably say, is Shawn Michaels out of anybody. He was the only one who wasn't too crazy about me being up there, too crazy about throwing a thrust kick or whatever, and then being the high flyer that I can be. But Shawn was threatened by me for the wrong reasons. All Shawn needed to worry about is when is Shawn and Scorpio gonna hook up. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always thought with Shawn being the chameleon, to change his style to work with anybody's style, that me and him could have went out and we could have had a match of the year that would have been hard to top by anybody, you know, standards. I mean, I look at the match that him and Brett had, and I'm like, I know for a fact that me and Shawn could top that match. But yet I never got that chance or that opportunity to work with him or have an angle where we could burn the house down, you know. So I was a little disappointed in Shawn Michaels, you know, not knowing if he was just scared or chicken shit or afraid I was going to outshine him or whatever. But, you know, my thing is I just thought that was just real chicken shit of him.
Well, why do you think that you never got like a opportunity on the upper card or the main event in WWF?
Because the simple fact is I didn't stay there long enough. At the time when Vince got ready to do something with me, I was having family problems. I was getting ready to go through a divorce. I was hooked on that Jenny Craig diet. Started being late to shows. You know, it was more important to get that next hit. You know what I'm saying? And I seen myself getting too far gone. And I looked in the mirror one day and said, hey, you can't be another brother that's been another statistic. You know, you got to be better than that. You know what I'm saying? So I went to Vince and I went to JR and said, look, man, hey, I need some time off. I didn't shoot straight with Vince, which at the time, if I would have shot straight with him, who knows? He probably would have cut me loose, or he probably would have paid for it and brought me back like he did X-Pac and Road Dogg now. For all the drug rehabs that those guys went through, came back, went through and came out, he gave them so many chances and opportunities where when it was up to me, I was something that I've done on my own. I didn't ask the office to do. I didn't ask the office to take care of. I just see myself getting too far gone and said, hey, I need to have some time off to get myself back together, and you know, and then once I do, we can do this again. And what happened was I got stuck up there in Philly. I went and did a couple shows, and I was up there in Phoenix. Got stuck down there, man. I mean, with the big double up size, you know, Jenny crack, you know what I'm saying, man? So I'm sprung. I'm up there for about a week just smoking my brains out, thinking, damn, you got a job, when you gonna go to it? So I finally went and did a couple shows. Dave Helpner, and they said, Scorpio, man, we love you, man. And he goes, but you're fucking up. And he goes, we got to tell Vince now. I says, I understand. I said, that's you guys' job. You have to do what you have to do. There's no hard feelings to you guys. You know, you're just doing your job, you know. But they always would forewarn me and try to explain, Scorpio, you're fucking up, slow down, do this, do that, whatever. They would always try to help me. Ron Simmons, everybody, you know, hey, man, you need to slow down, this and that. But I was running it fast forward, you know. I was living that life of wine, song, women, drugs, and money. You know what I'm saying? Making good money. I'm WWF. You on that TV. TV is a powerful thing. I was all over the TV all around the world. You know what I'm saying? So everywhere you went, it was real known, real easy to get whatever drug, whatever you need. And I just found myself getting too far gone. So when I finally got the time off, I went to Vince. They said, call me on Wednesday. I had to drive back home from Colorado to Atlanta. It took me 2 days. So instead of calling on Wednesday, I ended up calling like on a Thursday or Friday, and JR said, hey, there's somebody I got to answer to. You know what I'm saying? You were supposed to call me on Wednesday. You didn't. Hey, I'm sorry. Got to let you go. And basically that was that and stuff. So I believe that if anything, I have no hard feelings toward Vince. I really don't believe he has any hard feelings toward me. He probably was a little disappointed. When I signed on, you know, like I said, I wasn't doing any coke, I wasn't doing any drugs, I was just smoking weed. As time went on, started making the good money, started in on the coke, started losing everything, and I think he was more disappointed in that situation than anything else. So, as well as myself. So.
Have you overcome all those problems?
Oh, by far. Well overcome them, have nothing to do with it. And if any of the boys out there has got problem doing cocaine, or if you got problems snorting, I'm one of the boys. I've been there, I've done it. I would be more than happy to be your co-partner, to sit down and talk with you, whatever, help you guys try to get off the shit, because I'm telling you, man, there ain't no way to go out. All right, for anybody. I've been clean now, going on 4.5, 5 years, and I plan on being clean for the rest of my life, unless it's green. If it's green or chocolate, I'm gonna smoke it. But if it's that white shit, you can keep it.
Well, what was the road and party schedule or situation like in WWF?
Oh man, for me it was pretty mellow, because I was riding around with Ron Simmons. I had the Godfather. These are a lot of older guys who's been around. They know the loop. They done the deal. Basic thing was they was trying to keep me out of trouble. I was the one that was. Come on, man, let's drive. Let's get to the next town. You know, let's go out, eat. Let's go have a drink, man. I got to go find the hood. You know what I'm saying? Let's go find little 5 points and shit, man. I know somebody got some shit. You know, and Ron's like, no, man, you don't need that, man. You don't leave that shit alone. Do this, do that. You know, kept trying to teach me, you know, the suit and tie, the office, you know, the business part, you know. And unfortunately, you know, I let a lot of it go in one ear and out the other, and just got too far gone. But if it probably wasn't for Ron Simmons and The Godfather now, and I probably would have been a lot worse than what it was and stuff. So.
What are your memories of the Brawl for All, which was that series of real fights of Vince said?
Shit, man. My Brawl for All, the bottom line was, I was all about the dollar bill. I didn't care win, lose, or draw. I was all about the money. And what pissed me off about it is when I was training and wanted to get into it, they wouldn't let me in it. And so the 2 nights that I fought, I was up all night, 24 hours. I haven't had any sleep. I've been doing crack cocaine. Both fights that I fought, I was up for 2 days, haven't had any sleep. Come to TV, and I'm getting, you know, 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep underneath the table. Go out, work, got to pull off a hell of a match, and then have a Brawl for All fight. You know, I believe if I wasn't fucking around with all that bullshit, that I probably could have been in the finals, and it probably would have came down to me and Bart.
Do you think it was a good idea to have the guys like in real fights like that?
I don't think it was a good idea at all. I think it was just something for the office as far as an ego trip thing. All the guys who were smart, who didn't get into it, was the smart ones. Undertaker. Why you want to go out and box and kill your name off? You know what I'm saying? Vader, Ron Simmons. You know, all them guys were smart guys. You know, we're making decent money. We're making good money. There's no need for us to get in the Brawl for All. You know, get knocked out, you lose your name. You know what I'm saying? Now you go out, you wrestle. Who believes in you? And, you know, if you win, somebody's like, man, we don't believe in you anymore. So that's kind of hard for a guy who has a name. A guy like myself, a guy that's up and coming, a guy like Bart, who has nothing to lose and everything to gain, man, we had a lot of stuff going for us. I mean, an opportunity to make a little extra money. You know, you can't beat it, you know. So but my problem was and shit is I never should have been smoking the shit prior to my 2 fights. I was prepping. I fought my first fight. I lucked out, won over one of the Harrison brothers. My second fight, I was supposed to be going up against Dan Severn. He backed out. So I ended up going against The Godfather, and man, we sit down and we talk, and we said, "Yay, man!" It says, I said, "Hey, brother." He goes, "There's nothing against you. There's nothing against me." I said, "Man, it's all about the dollar bill." He goes, "You know, if whatever happens, it happens. Win, lose, or draw." He goes, "When it's all over and it's done, hey, you know, hey, we can go smoke together. We can go have a drink. You know, hey, we can make up. It's all good." He goes, "But right now, man, it's business." So at that time, we kind of just separated for, you know, a few days and stuff, and kind of got serious. He got serious about his fight, and I got serious about more smoking. You know, the next thing you know, and shit, man, I got the 2 fights, and you know, shoot, I got my little, you know, little money and shit, you know, so $10,000. So I was happy. It would have been nice to walk away with the $100,000. Unfortunately, JR and them had that money riding on Steve, and for what I understand through the grapevine is they paid Steve the $120 up front, told him it was a work.
Steve Blackman? Williams. Oh, okay.
You know, because he's from Oklahoma, so he's a JR boy. You know what I'm saying? He thought that he was going to come in. He's from Oklahoma. He's big, you know, amateur wrestler. You know, he's going to come in, you know, kick a little ass, make a name for himself. Now we can push him. Well, you know, unfortunately, his game backfired. They paid him all that money. He went out. He had to step in the ring with Bart. He got knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Tore all kind of hamstring, legs, and muscles. And so that prolonged his career for coming back, too, and stuff as well. And then turned around and got fucked by the company and never got hired anyways. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's that catch 2020, but yet he still lost, you know, so.
Were there any ever times where you were frustrated about not being higher on the card or anything like that, or were you just too into the drugs back in the WWE?
No, actually, I was real frustrated because I thought I could have been a lot higher up on the card. You know, places like where Triple H was, places that Shawn Michaels was, and you know, things like that. You know, Hawk and Animal. I'm like, man, guys like this, I can work circles around. You know, how come I'm not higher up on the card? How come I'm not getting a better push? You know, and then after a while, it's like, hey, fuck it, they're not gonna do nothing with me. I'm just gonna take the money and run. You know, so as I was taking the money and run, the only problem is I was taking it and running to the drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Instead of saving it, putting it in the bank account, doing the right thing.
Yeah. Then after WWF, you went back to ECW. Was there any big changes in ECW when you went back?
Yes, when I went back and stuff, Paulie had started to try to crack back on some of the drug scenes and stuff like that. So it was still, quite hectic down there, but everything was starting to change. Guys were starting to become more stooges, and people were starting to stab people in the back. It was that natural, unfriendly style type locker room where everybody's stabbing each other in the back. Probably more concerned. Everybody probably worried about what's going to happen with the next job, and who's coming in to take a job, or what's this or that. So.
Okay. Is there any big memories that you had from your second DCW run? Anything that stands out to you?
Other than Paulie being a chicken shit, getting more jive ass on the money.
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion of Paul Heyman? How did he change over the years?
I think he's like any other Jew. Just got greedy. He likes his money, want to have more money, and want to have more money. You know what I'm saying? He want to have the money, want to make the big money, but don't want to pay what it takes to get the big money. You got to pay for your talent to get the big money, so they can go out and work hard and give the shows and give you the kind of talent that you want to see. So I think, in all honesty, Paulie has something good, but with him getting too far in debt and owing too many people, I think was another reason why he had no choice but to sell the company and stuff, so he can get his own self out of debt and save his own ass,
Okay, then how did you end up in All Japan? Was that Vader again?
Yes, it was. Yes, I got over in All Japan. It was because of Vader. Said, okay, I can get you a shot. Talked to Johnny Ace. Johnny Ace got me the deal over there and stuff like that, and went from there and stuff. So, but like I say, once he got me over there, I went over there and worked, did a couple shots. Mizawa liked me, liked my style. Kobo liked me, liked my style and the stuff that I could do. And then they started putting me in together. Then they started bringing me over more often and stuff. So.
What was your first impressions of All Japan and a lot of the wrestlers there?
I thought All Japan, man, I thought it was going to be something good. And then once I got there, I felt like, man, this is just like in the fucking States. It's a whole lot of prejudice. It's a whole lot of backstabbing. And nobody really wants me to get the big push and to be on top. I thought that Johnny Ace liked me. I thought that Johnny Ace didn't want to bring me on and too much, whereas Vader wanted me to bring me in more, which at the time who had no say so. Mizawa and Ogawa, like I said, they liked everything that I had, and Kobo now, and wanted to get a little bit more time with it. So then from there on, I just kind of bounced around off and on, hit and miss a couple tours with All Japan, and then once the company had went to a split after that.
What were your thoughts and impressions of Mrs. Baba?
I thought Mrs. Bubba was a two-faced bitch. Mr. Bubba himself is a total gentleman. He's real nice. He's real polite. He's old school. He's a man of his word. He's a man that does business on a handshake. If he gives you his handshake, say he's going to do this, he was good for his word. Where Mrs. Bubba she was like a two-faced, if not three-faced. She had the face for the camera, which was smiling, perpetrating, hi, how you doing, press, because Mr. Bubba was known worldwide. When he died off and so forth, and she was there alone, and she wasn't getting all the respect from a lot of the other people, from the customs and from the different places that she was going, I think she slowly but surely was starting to take it out on some of the guys, because she would have an attitude, come back there and say, you can't be sitting here watching this show, you need to be in the back watching the show, and just little things that didn't mean nothing, who she had no idea that, oh, I'm standing here because I gotta go do a run-in, or I'm standing here and watch because I gotta go, I'm involved in this next match. Little things like that. I just thought that she was not a business type woman that should be running any kind of a progressive business, period.
Okay.
So.
When did you first find out that Noah was splitting or forming, and a lot of the wrestlers were splitting from All Japan?
I probably knew about 4 months, 5 months prior to the split.
Really? Who told you? And
I had word through the grapevine from Mizawa and Vader, that, hey, the company's getting ready to split up. This is the way the situation's going to be. We don't know what's going to happen yet. let's wait and see.
Did you guys keep it real quiet, or?
Yeah, I just kept it down on the hush hush. I didn't really know. As a matter of fact, I went over, knew the company was already splitting and starting. I still didn't went and worked for All Japan. My last tour, I worked. Mrs. Bubba knew about the split, ended up giving all the extra gaijin, an extra $1,000 bonus on top of your payday, kind of like a little incentive, try not to, to escape and jump sides and stuff. So, but I had done 3 weeks, and I had asked them prior to, do you know when I'm coming back? She couldn't give me a date, so I said, okay, fine. And by that time, I already knew to make the jump to Noah.
So there's no question in your mind about going to Noah?
No, because what happened was is Vader said, I'm jumping. I'm going. Are you coming with me? He goes, I'll do the package deal. I was like, yes. If you go, I'm there.
Were there any discussions about going back to WCW or ECW or WWF during this time?
No, there was no talk about it whatsoever. I had no interest or any interest at all at that time, or even going back. Now, as I get a little older, sometimes I sit back and I think, well, it wouldn't be so bad. Maybe they have one more shot, at WWE. But in all honesty, I'm not crazy about it.
Okay. What are your memories of becoming the first GHC Tag Team Champions alongside Vader?
I thought that was a great experience, a great opportunity to be the first ones in Noah to have the tag team belts. I believe the reason why we was the first GHC Tag Team Champions was because of Vader. Vader carried a lot of power, a lot of clout, and he just made things happen a lot of times when he was there. So he more or less went to him and said, hey, this is the way it's going to be. This is the way I would like to have it. And of course it turned out and it happened. We ended up winning the tournament and ended up getting the belts and stuff. So
were you surprised that you guys dropped the belt so quickly?
Yes and no. To Vader, it was a big surprise. To me, it was a little bit of a surprise, but not that big of a surprise because of the way that the business was done and the way that the business was going between Vader and the office at the time.
Okay. Were you surprised when Vader left Noah?
Yes and no. I was surprised and disappointed that he wouldn't listen to me somewhat.
Did you try to talk him out of leaving?
There was a few things that we tried to talk to him about and stuff. It's the same thing like he's always done to me. I've always listened to him, and there was just one time I just wish he would listen to me. And then when he finally left, I was happy for him because he was starting to look in real bad shape, starting to get real forgetful. I thought maybe that he might have hurt himself or damaged himself over there in Japan, and I would have to be liable for him. If he got hurt in Japan or if he lost his life in Japan, I would feel really bad for him. As far as him losing his job, I feel bad for him, and I wish he was still there because when he was there, there's a lot of things that happened. He knows that timing. He has that good timing of when to ask for a certain question, when to ask for a raise, when to challenge for the title shots and for the belts. He just had that knowledge and that wisdom of that good timing on when to do certain things. But on the other hand, he started losing some of his timing.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think of the current juniors in Noah? A lot of people talk about how good the Noah product is now. What's it like to be a part of that, and who are your favorite guys to work there right now?
Man, I'll tell you right now, our junior category, I put our junior category up against any team anywhere in the world right now today. You start talking about Mike and Donovan, which is on the gaijin side, but then you start talking about the Japanese side, like Marufuji, Kenta, Kanemaru. You start talking about Hashi, Suzuki, and then you got this new guy from Mexico, Ricky Marvin. You got all these guys now, man, that's doing stuff that, I've never even thought possibly I could ever do as far as high flying and moving. I think our junior division could sell out a Budokan or a Tokyo Dome and be the main event on several cards and withdraw money.
Do they look to you at all as like a veteran now for advice or veteran?
Yes, yes they do. Actually, a lot of the juniors and stuff that's in there, I've worked with a lot of them. I taught a lot of them high spots. I taught them a lot of high moves. I taught them a lot of them shoot moves. I worked with a lot of them in the ring, letting them know on what things they should do and what things they shouldn't do. Being how I've also trained in Japan, so it's real easy for me to communicate and help some of the Japanese boys out and stuff. So.
Okay. Now, recently Noah had their first show at the Tokyo Dome. What was it like being a part of that?
It was fantastic. I mean, it was awesome to be a part of their first show at the Tokyo Dome, even though I worked at Tokyo Dome before, but I've never been there with Noah. And to have a sellout crowd from the ticket sales that they wanted to sell, and to have a sellout and even more was just a great feeling. And then with the card itself, from the first match to the last match, of everybody on the card busting their ass and having good matches, I want to say, man, it was a great pleasure being on it for the first time. And it was just something that, only a wrestler himself could experience being there. And you something you have to see it live,
Now, you've been in a lot of locker rooms, Noah, ECW, WWF, WCW. How do they all compare to each other?
They don't. Every locker room is different. The last time that I was in WCW, locker room was the shits. Prejudice, little kind of split up, looking over your shoulder, worried about who's going to stab you in the back. WWF, when I was up there, it was halfway cool, halfway not, because all of that segregated locker rooms like they used to have before. Hulk Hogan got his own locker room, Shawn Michaels has his own, everybody had their own locker rooms, where now everybody's all back in together again. Probably now you still got, Triple H, a few guys, Vince that's probably got their own thing set up, but the last time I was up there, it wasn't that bad of a locker room to be in anymore but to me the best one right now is Noah, because it's mostly only gaijin in one locker room, maybe a few Japanese, and there's not really that real big ego trip. You really don't have to worry about nobody stabbing you in the back. You don't have to worry about looking all over your shoulder, because you're only like 5-6 deep, and you pretty much have to stick together and watch out for each other, because you're there about a half a year there, half a year at home, so that's like your second family. So you try to get along and kind of blend and take care of each other. So I think Noah is probably the best one.
Why haven't you been that active in the United States lately?
I haven't been that active in the United States because the simple fact is that I'm living in Germany now. Living in Germany, trying to come over here. And work and do something as far as on the independent circuit. It's quite expensive when it comes from an independent promoter or somebody trying to fly me from Germany to come down here to do, say, a one-shot deal. It would be different if they was running, say, 4 or 5 shows, or doing a little tour where they was going to hit a few towns and had something lined up. Then it would be more worth it to fly me out from Germany to work in the States. So that's another reason why I haven't done so much in the States right now, and it's the only reason why is because I'm not here to do anything.
Do you miss living in the United States?
Yeah, I miss it. I miss the hoes, I miss the smoke, I miss all the shows, but I miss doing what I do the best and stuff, and that's working. I love to work, I love to wrestle all the time, as much as I possibly can. Doesn't matter what the house is for, I just love to work. And the simple fact is being out there in Germany, I'm missing out on it and stuff. So
yeah, what are your plans for the future? Are you staying in Germany, or are you working?
No, my futures right now and stuff is either pack my shit up and either move to Japan for a couple of years and be full-time working there, or come back to the States and stuff and pick back up on the indie scenes and just kind of bounce around between here, Japan, and whatever happen, but I'm here in the near future real soon. I'm planning on coming and making a comeback before it's too late to make the comeback. So
okay. What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?
The biggest misconception is don't take my kindness the wrong way. I'm a real nice guy. I'm real polite. I have no problem about knocking your ass out, though, at the same time. I'm just like everybody else out there. I'm bitter. I'm mad. I'm a little sad. I'm a little disappointed that with my talent and the way that I am, and with skills and stuff that I've got, that I haven't got a bigger push, and I haven't made the kind of money that I think that I should have made over a period of time of being a professional wrestler.
Okay. Is there anybody that you haven't worked that you would like to work?
Yes, I've always wanted to work Bret Hart. And I've always wanted to work Shawn Michaels. God rest his soul, I always wanted to work with Kid Hennig too, but he's passed on now. So other than that, I think I just about working with, almost everybody that I can work with. Nowadays, there's a few upcoming guys on the indie circuit, though, that I've been hearing a lot about, like AJ Styles and, a few of the others that I hear that's out there and so forth, and let's see what we can do, and perhaps I'll see him someplace on down the line. You got people like Low Key. Some of these guys out there now is like the new and upcoming, phenomenal stars that's out there. You still got a few guys around TNT. I probably couldn't call out hardly half of their names and stuff because I've been so far gone off the indie circuit that I really don't know who's the big names now on the indie circuits. It's who is on the up and coming right now. Okay. So, but
how about anything you want to close to say to the fans?
Basically, I'd just like to close out to all the great fans and stuff as thank you for all your support through all the years. Thank you for coming to all the shows, cheering, hooting, hollering, and please, if you want to help Too Cold out, you can buy some of the videotapes. You can go to Ring of Honor. You can check out the videos. Whatever you need to do, stay in contact. Go to the website, check it out. If there's anything that you need to know, hey, I'm at the NOAH. Try to get in contact with me. I'll try to get back with you if I can. Other than that, much love. Peace out to all. God bless.
Thank you very much.
All right.